And tell us about your visit in Florida where you usually would get a herpes outbreak and you didn't get one.
I didn't get one because I was really focused on keeping it removed the whole time I was there.
Have you had one since?
No.
See how crazy my fingers are? I love it. Now I feel high.
Well, that...
I feel like I've just got like a surge of like energy.
Okay. Have you started getting signals yet?
Yeah, it was so amazing. I woke up this morning and I was going through the list of bodies and the pathologies, and I was getting signals, and I was so shocked because I didn't think I would get any.
Right.
Another thing that I noticed this morning, after I was doing the steps and the testing, my nose stopped bleeding straight after. So I was having nosebleed.
Yeah.
And after I was doing all the testing and removing of the pathologies out of the body,
yes,
my nose stopped bleeding straight away, which was quite amazing.
Yes, well, you see, what you're going to notice is that you're experiencing a disappearance of symptoms. Well, my young friend, welcome to the Cure Drive. There's our bumper sticker, and as you can see, we brag about our cures. That's what we do. We play for bragging rights. There they are on the bumper sticker. Yes, sirree. So, you see some very excited and healthy-looking people here, sharing their victories with you over cancer and herpes and Lyme disease and ankylosing spondylitis, for the three women there and you just were looking at. And so they look good, and that doesn't mean you're going to be one of them. These people work very hard to get where they are. This is work, buddy. It's going to be a lot of work, and that's what you're going to have to do. Work. And that's going to be in a few minutes as you follow the directions that I give you in this movie. I'm going to start giving you instructions and lessons shortly, so stay with me here. Stay with me. You don't want to miss that. So I'm going to be showing you people doing what you're going to be told to do, examples, to make it really clear to you what you're supposed to do and what it's supposed to be for you. And of course everybody's different, so you're going to see a lot of different people and hopefully realize that you will be somewhat different than them, different yet the same. And they make it look simple and easy, but actually, for some of those people you were watching, it was scary and awful, especially before they started doing it, when they had those diseases. And you're going to be seeing them in the middle of curing the diseases, and those people were in the middle of curing those diseases when they were filmed. Because that's what you need to see. You need to see what it looks like for you when you start doing it. And see, when you start doing it, it's going to feel simple and easy. It's going to feel simply simple. That's how it's going to feel to you. From the very first moments when you get your first signal, it's going to feel easy and fun and good. And that can fool you. And that can fool you into thinking, no, I don't have to work. This is wow, I cured it. Boy, oh boy. And then when you fall on your face, you're going to say, oh, I guess it didn't work, and you'll be gone and have herpes outbreaks for the rest of your life or die of the cancer. So you're going to really need to not get fooled and be told this. That's why I'm saying these things to you now. You need to hear what I'm saying to you now. And actually you can't hear this right now. You're not ready to hear this. So you're going to need to sort of put it on the back burner like the things I say to you that go past you and you go, I don't know what he's talking about. Just put it on the back burner, buddy, and you know, it will all make sense to you at some point, maybe. Maybe. Why would anybody think that curing an incurable and potentially lethal disease that a doctor can't touch with his or her drugs would require anything less than 100% of your best? Why would anybody think that curing cancer would be simple or easy? Because all the doctor has is treatments, right? Cancer treatments, herpes treatments, hepatitis B treatments, Epstein-Barr treatments, lupus treatments, all things that you hear people actually curing in the cure shows. You may not have even run across those yet. This may be your first moment on this website, but they're there. You know, there are cure shows of people curing all these things. And all the doctor has is a symptomatic treatments as the doctor will explain so painstakingly to you. The doctor will tell you, look, I have no cure. This is a symptomatic treatment. You know, that which is why people get a negative medical test on cancer and then, you know, 2 years later they die of cancer. Because all the doctor can do is, you know, test for what he can test for, and he's not actually able to see the roots of the disease even. So, do people get negative medical tests with what I'm showing you how to do here? Doing what you're going to be told to do and shown how to do shortly? Do people get negative medical tests with this? People are always asking me that. Yes. Yes, they do. That's what they get. Of course, that's how you know you cured it. You get a negative medical test. That's how they know they cured it. All I'm saying here is that whether or not you get your negative medical test is going to depend on how resolute you are to cure, you know, yourself. That's all I'm saying. Because this is a skill, not a pill. Okay, this is a skill you develop, not a pill that you swallow. So developing skill, as we all know, takes time, work, focus. It takes everything you've got to develop a. Have you ever developed a skill like a? Do you play tennis? You ever develop a tennis forehand? So you know what I'm talking about. Then it's a skill, not a pill. So why would we think it would be easy and simple, and even if it feels that way, wouldn't we remain on our guard? You know, don't we remain on our guard about it, like potentially life-threatening things? Well, some of us did. Some of us have, and we have produced enough cures to tell you about so that you can know that it is possible, and now it's up to you to cure yours. It's up to you now to cure yours. Because we can't cure it for you. I mean, we can give you a lot of directions and instruction and, you know, training and coaching. I put my phone number all over this website. You know, it's in the movies and everywhere. You know, because, you know, people need to talk to a person sometimes. And there's a whole bunch of us who stand ready to help you. We want to see you cure this. And we feel our manifesto is, we feel that having cured what we have cured has conferred upon us a responsibility that we must not shirk to give this cure to the world. And specifically to you right now, since you're the one I'm talking to watching this movie. So welcome to the Cure Drive. That's what it is. And that's what you're going to have to do, drive for your cure. You're going to have to drive yourself to do more when you don't feel like doing more. Because, see, this takes away all your stress. And you feel good when you do this. You feel relaxed, happy, and great. Even when you know the tumor is not completely gone. You feel like, wow, it feels as though you're completely cured. Like in 5 minutes. This really does make you feel real good, real fast, and that can fool you. And see, because that's the moment to do a little more exploring. That's when you feel great, that's the moment to find what else is wrong with you. Because you got a lot of stuff wrong with you. This doesn't have one cause. People think, oh, I have the herpes virus. Can I kill it? They don't realize it's got a lot of triggers and cofactors and ancillary causes and contributing factors and things that are holding that virus, that are preventing your immune system from killing it. Yes? Look, wouldn't your immune system take care of these things? Why doesn't everybody get herpes when they have a sexual contact with an infected person? Not everybody gets it. Why doesn't everybody display symptoms or show it in the same way? Why are there all these variations in even a simple... And herpes is a simple disease. I never had another herpes outbreak after the first day I took it out. That was the last herpes outbreak I ever had in my life. That was in 1993. So why is everybody different? Because everybody's different. That's why. So when you're feeling good from having done a little of this, that's the moment to look for the rest of it, to look for the next thing. When you've cured something, that's when you can cure something. And the thing that interferes with you curing, what you need to cure, that's the thing you need to cure. Diseases interfere with you curing diseases. Diseases interfere with you curing them. And your symptoms of other diseases, you have many diseases. You have emotional diseases and spiritual diseases. Everybody does. You're sick. You know, everybody is. We all know we're dysfunctional, right? I mean, everybody knows that about themselves. You know? I mean, if you don't know that, you're psychotic, and then you're really in serious shape, okay? So everybody knows they're dysfunctional. So your symptoms of other things, not the thing you came here to cure, those things are preventing you from locating the things you need to take out to cure the thing you came to cure. And if what I just said is convoluted, that's because you're convoluted. See, the problem isn't that what we're showing you how to do here is complex. The problem is you're complex. And the people you were just looking at in these movies, those women, unraveled a little bit of that. To some extent, they succeeded in unraveling it, and that's what you were looking at when you were watching them, those moments of cure. They were just willing to unravel a little bit of it and show you how they're doing that. So, like, if they seem like they're right in the middle of it sometimes, well, they are, you know. For example, Angela, the woman, the cardiac technician who's curing breast and bone cancer that you were just watching, she joined the Webb College and did absolutely nothing with it. She got her membership, her password, her collegeship, and she was a member, and she did not start. She didn't do it. She didn't look at it. She did nothing until after her password expired. She got a 3-month password, never touched it. And then after it expired, and after she made her appointment to start chemotherapy, that was when she called me. That's what people do to themselves. And that's a symptom of another illness, not the cancer. It's another illness that causes her to procrastinate like that. And she was, looking all over for, other treatments. Like she was trying out herbs that they said cured cancer, and they have juices they say cure cancer, and all these different home cancer remedies on the web she was trying. And the cancer was getting worse and worse, and she finally, she's in London, so she gets free medical care, and she called the doctor and said, oh, she's starting chemo. That's when she communicated with me. And then we started. Most of the people who you hear in the Cancer Cure Show who cured their cancer did not use medication. to cure their cancer. Usually because the medications that they did use before they did the cure show failed, and then they cured the cancer with what you're going to now learn. And she has taken out all of the medication allergies. You know how people, when they do a cancer treatment, they lay down in bed, their tongue turns gray, they get up only to vomit. They lose their appetite, they eat a little bit, and then they have the dry heaves all day. This is what those drugs do, the drugs she's taking. This is what her doctor told her her symptoms of the medication would be. And she removed that with, you know, I've been showing her how to do this since about 3 or 4 days before she actually took her first medication. And she took that medication. Another one is nosebleeds. You know, when she was talking about her nosebleed, the nosebleed happens because she has bone cancer, and you know, it lowers your platelets. And also the chemo lowers your platelets. And these people get nosebleeds that go on for days. They check themselves into the hospital because the nosebleed won't stop. And she's taken it all out. She has no symptoms. She can actually handle taking the drugs if she wants to. That's the nice thing about this, you know. If you want to do drugs to cure your cancer, do this too, because it takes out the symptoms of the drugs as well as curing the cancer. It cures everything. God. So, you know, many have come and few have actually done as what Angela has done, because Angela worked. And so many people just quit. They actually make a decision to stop. It's not that it's not working. It's just that they don't do it. It's like what Angela did originally when she just got her password and never touched it. So you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to actually do the work at this, because it's a skill, not a pill. Nobody cures you. You're the one who cure it. And of course, God cures it. You know, certainly you're linking with a higher power that is erasing these diseases. But what you need to focus on right now is you curing it, you letting in the guidance, part of which is just me talking to you. You choose to do it each moment when you do it. And you choose not to do it in each moment when you don't choose to do it. And as you can learn from Angela, you can always change your mind and take the right step. That's what she did. She changed her mind and decided to get in touch with me. And you do that. You change your mind. You choose it. You become it, really. You say yes to it. And sometimes, inevitably, you will always say no to it. All of us have. We do say no to it. All of us do that. In the middle of success, we stop. In fact, that's what does stop us. You know, we stop because we've succeeded. And we say, okay, now let's see if it's all gone and I'm okay and I can live a normal life. And there's no such thing. You're going to be curing emotional, spiritual, and probably physical diseases of one kind or another for the rest of your life. Or you're going to fall back into the abyss that you probably found yourself in, which is generally why people, you know, end up watching this movie. Because most people aren't clear enough to just seek this out before the time when they're really desperate. Unfortunately, for most people, they just don't know they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to start this when they're well, when they're okay, you know, and so that they never need to have you know, this emergency intervention. You know? So it's just, you know, it's just a matter of saying yes to it sometimes. A few little yeses, a little bit here and a little yes there and another yes here and another yes there. And these yeses snowball into one big, huge yes that ends up with you getting a negative medical test and then going beyond that negative medical test to the point where you really no longer have the disease. It isn't just that your doctor can't find it, you no longer have it. And that's where Angela tells me she's going, for one example. She says she's going to the point, no disease whatsoever. Tony Ann, the second woman you were watching, was curing an infection caused by an oral herpes outbreak in her mouth that went into her ear because, and this is what her doctor told her, of another virus called Epstein-Barr, which is actually also a herpes virus, which causes chronic fatigue syndrome. So she has these two viruses enabling each other, and her herpes outbreak is abnormally awful. You know, worse than most people's. And so she had a headache. As you saw, that infection was disappearing. That's what made the headache go away. Well, what? So you're feeling very calm now.
Yeah.
Do you still have a headache?
Nope.
Do you think the headache was connected with the swelling?
Absolutely.
So you think maybe the swelling went down now? I suspect that every human being on earth is able to do this. And is supposed to do this. But we don't. Even when people see they can, they don't. Curing things is an alien reality. People watch this movie and they write in and say, I'm nuts. Okay? It's an alien reality. People don't cure things, they die of them. Okay, that's what they do. Be honest with yourself. Like your mother gets cancer, what's your expectation? Think about it. You know, that's the reality you live in. Curing is an alien reality. That's why people die of things they don't need to die of. That's why we spend trillions globally on completely unnecessary medical treatments for things that people could have just cured in 5 minutes themselves. Tony Ann had pushed through the discouragement and failure. When you're seeing what it can be like when you do that. And what you're seeing when the headache was caused by the swelling in the inner ear from the oral herpes, the HSV1, which she was disabling by killing the Epstein-Barr virus. Let me just show you how she got to the headache disappearing, okay?
I am now removing the Epstein-Barr virus from all of my body. You see how crazy my fingers are? I love it. Now I feel high.
Well, that...
I feel like I just got like a surge of like energy.
Okay. This is instant cure. But getting going with it, acclimating yourself to this alien reality, getting good at it, not instant. Wasn't for me. I am now also purposely showing you people who are not cured. These are people like you, people in the middle of cure. Welcome to the Cure Drive. Well, the Cure Drive is an email group full of people and also a college full of people. It's also a show on the web called The Cure Show. We recorded these people with 5 volunteer teachers showing them how to cure it. Or 3 volunteer, a few volunteer teachers would show up and show this one guest, how to cure the disease. There are hundreds of recordings. You hear these people curing these diseases and their symptoms disappearing during the Cure Show. We work with signals. One of the signals we work with is the disappearance of physical symptoms right before our eyes. And you know, you can hear how they cure the things in the Cure Show. And all of this is the Cure Drive. I'm Bayard Barnes, speaking for thousands of people who've cured things and who now are passing their help, their wisdom, along to you through me. And through this movie, this blueprint for cure that you're watching. This blueprint for developing skill. Curing things is a skill that you develop. It's not a new diet. It's not a miracle herb. It's not the magic juice, okay? 100 years ago, I had a torrid affair with a beautiful woman who died of cancer. And she drank the miracle juice. She used diet, vitamins, macrobiotics, herbs. She was a thorough researcher as to what helps cancer. And it helped. You know, they all helped. You know, she maintained herself cancer-free for several years after her first mastectomy. Those things helped her maintain herself. They helped her to live with the cancer, feel better while she was dying of it, and then she died. She also had state-of-the-art medical care. Well, she was the doctor who ran the cancer support groups at Pennsylvania Hospital. She was Jackie Buzan. She was on local TV and all the time talking about the groups. Jackie had her first mastectomy about a year before I met her. And she got a negative medical test on cancer right around then. If you've been longing for a negative medical test, maybe now you understand a little more about, you know, the negative medical test. See, people don't realize a negative medical test is a great signal. You know, it's encouraging, and you should be happy when you get yours. But, you know, the people that you hear in the Cure Show and the people you see here, they don't just get negative medical tests. They are actually they rid themselves of the disease, which they often still find in themselves after the negative medical test. And that's what you learn, how to pick it up at the subclinical level. That's what you're learning to do, or you're going to be learning in a few minutes. We're going to start showing you actually how to do it in a few minutes, in case you didn't already pick it up from just watching what little you saw of Tony Ann. That's what you're going to learn how to do in this movie. That's what we're leading up to here. I want to play you a little more of Kate, the first woman you saw. Watch this. You usually would get a herpes outbreak and you didn't get one.
I didn't get one because I was really focused on keeping it removed the whole time I was there.
Have you had one since?
No.
Well, let's keep it out for a couple of years.
Yeah.
How about that? Because it dies off. See, I don't have to check for it anymore. It's gone. You know, but it took me years. I kept finding it in my spiral body.
Yeah.
But now I don't find it anymore when I check. It dies off. If you don't let it outbreak, it dies off. So if you keep it out of your spiral, gravitate, those bodies for, you know, for me it was probably around 18 months. That's how you cure it. Kate did not join the Cure Drive to cure herpes. I doubt if she ever thought about curing herpes in her life until she was long in the Cure Drive for weeks. She cured herpes as a byproduct of Cure Drive membership. Kate was driven to the Cure Drive by a horrible, debilitating disease that you probably never heard of, and that the doctors couldn't cure, called ankylosing spondylitis, which was a side effect of another incurable disease, Lyme disease. Once she was curing those two diseases, in the middle of curing them, she realized she could also cure herpes. Kate developed a skill. That's what you're going to be doing. Kate was, you know, that movie was taken around 6 weeks after she joined the cure drive. She had no symptoms, no ankylosing spondylitis. And ankylosing spondylitis symptoms are horrendous. It's a burning under the skin. It's like being burned alive. All over your body. Over the entire body. Those diseases were stopping Kate. She wasn't functioning, you know, not the way she needed to take care of 2 daughters. See, it's obvious when you look at Kate that she isn't suffering anymore. Her story, okay, the doctors put her on a very strong antibiotic. That was way before she discovered the cure drive. See, they had treatments, but unfortunately no cure. You know what? Let me show you Tony Ann again, who took Valtrex for herpes. And you went and you told your doctor that you thought, you know, that the Valtrex made your herpes worse. Did you say that to the doctor?
Yeah, and he laughed at me. He said he's got tons of patients that take it and they never had a problem with it.
So you're the only person who ever had a problem with it, according to him.
Yeah, but I have friends that, you know, have taken it. I have like about 3 or 4 friends that have, you know, they get cold sores and stuff, and they've taken it, and it doesn't even work for them. And one of them even said that she thinks it made it worse too.
See, it's the same thing. Treatments, no cure. And in Tony Ann's case, I guess the treatment wasn't doing too well either. Anyway, the antibiotics for Kate stopped the ankylosing spondylitis symptoms. So that was great for her. And for a couple of months, she was, you know, pretty symptom-free. And then the doctor said, well, you can't stay on this. It was a very strong antibiotic. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a very strong antibiotic. And he said, you can't stay on this forever. All the ankylosing spondylitis symptoms came back. And the doctor had run out of treatments. Then she found us. She did a web search. And in desperation, she typed in a word that she wasn't supposed to type in. And it was the word cure. You see, there's no cure for ankylosing spondylitis, so you're not supposed to ask for one. And she typed in cure ankylosing spondylitis. Naturally, there were very few things in that category. We were one of them. That's how she found us, pure audacity. She got so desperate that she just rose above the whole thing and opened up to the universe, you know, presenting her with the cure. And that's what she got. You ever hear of the law of attraction? That's what the law of attraction looks like in nature. Kate attracted the cure for ankylosing spondylitis. And once she attracted it, she still had to accomplish it. And see, here you go. You've attracted the cure for your cancer. You still have to accomplish it. And in a minute, you get to. That's where we're going. Kate was telling me that she's going to do this for the rest of her life because she wants to be well spiritually and emotionally as well as physically. And she has learned by the skill she developed, by employing the skill she developed, she has taught herself, she has discovered, she's realized, she's made real for herself that the spiritual and emotional are inseparable from the physical. Those 3 things are one. You know, when you do this, you feel as well as physical cure, spiritual and emotional cure. 87,000 cures, and most of them were for spiritual and emotional things that you might see as insignificant. And then, given your present state of, desperation to cure whatever you want to cure, and then, some of those 87,000 cures were for cancer. And one of them was not for Jackie. 7 short years too late, I discovered this. Jackie wouldn't just have cured cancer. If Jackie had had what you're going to do now, Jackie would have wiped cancer off the earth. Jackie was somebody who could have done that. She used to go on those talk shows, in Philly all the time talking about the cancer support groups at Penn. Well, she would have been on TV all the time talking about this. That was just the kind of human dynamo Jackie was. She was gorgeous. She had olive skin, black hair. She was beautiful. She was athletic. Jackie would have wiped cancer off the planet. Somebody's going to come along and do that at some point. Somebody who can do it will realize that it can be done. They'll succeed where the rest of us have failed because, well, for whatever reason, not I or any of the other people who've ever done this have even been able to approach the eradication of cancer. We need another Jackie. It can be done. That we have proved. But that we have not done. Not yet. So, it's time. Okay. Time for you to now see the first thing you need to start doing that's going to make you able to do the assignment that I'm going to give you later in the movie. And the assignment will be curing your disease, and doing the assignment will enable you to cure your disease. And if what I said just now doesn't make any sense to you, just play along. Okay? The woman you're going to see now is going to illustrate the basic way of testing. This is what you need to start doing. This is your first skill, how to test. Because you need to know it's dead. See, you need to be able to test yourself to make sure that it's dead. Okay, the woman's name is Molly. She's a friend I met in the wildlife area, which is just up the street, walking her dog, Hercules. And she told me she was in treatment with a psychiatrist for anxiety and depression. And she's been having oral herpes outbreaks. So this is the very beginning of how Molly started. Let's see what you do with this. Go ahead and nervous out. but let go of your arms. Just drop your arms.
Drop my arms.
Let yourself move around.
Let myself move.
Yeah, let yourself move around.
Okay,
Good.
just trying to get comfortable.
That's great.
Talking to bee out in the woods.
That's just the same as we always do.
Like we
just
always
like
do.
we always
Okay.
do.
Okay.
But now, see, you never learned this. Now, this is you. You don't even know actually what we're going to do you?
No.
Not really, right?
No.
But you're going to learn to cure things.
Yes.
And we're going to cure, well, we'll get into that right now. You are, say your name.
Molly.
Okay, and this is the Bayard Winfrey Show. we're on the Bayard Winfrey. It's like, you relate to it like Oprah, okay? Now, you own a company. You own your own company. You're the CEO, I guess?
My husband and I own a small business.
Yeah,
yes.
right. Which you make about taking a gross about $600,000-700,000 a year, something like that.
Well, not quite that, but we do okay.
And you have employees, and
we have employees.
The whole lifestyle, the whole deal. And you have a child.
We have one child. He's 5 years old. Connor is.
Oh my God. Okay. And so. And you're like, for people who don't know you, you're like super friendly and and you got millions of friends, and like everybody loves you, because
Well-
I know you, see, so I know all this stuff about you. Cause
I guess I'm likable. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'll just say that because I
Okay.
know I can vouch for you. You're
Okay.
definitely likable, and also, you just have a lot of wonderful things in your life. You have a wonderful. I met your husband
Yes.
once, and I know you have a wonderful relationship, and you have he's your type.
Yes.
See, I can tell that.
Yeah.
I can look at a couple and go, oh, he's her type,
Yes.
or
Yes.
she's his type, and so on. And in the middle of this, you're hit with a major health crisis.
Yeah.
And you're on medication.
Yes.
And the reason we're talking about this is because the approach that you're going to be taught to cure this now is exactly the approach that people thousands of people have used this to cure lethal and incurable diseases all over the world, such as lupus, fibromyalgia, cancer, herpes. I cured 2 kinds of herpes. I had them both. HSV1 and 2, lip and genital. I had them both. I was having herpes outbreaks for 28 years. So, and the thing that you have to cure is
Anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression, really.
so. Okay. Now here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
You're gonna look for a signal coming through one of your hands. So you should let go of your hands and relax them, and just ask this question, can I cure things?
Can I cure things?
And look for a signal like a movement or a pulsing coming through one of your fingers. And see if you get anything like that.
I'm getting something in my left hand.
And what is
left
that?
Finger. It's
Okay.
pulsing.
Very good, very good. Just do that again. It doesn't have to be like it was. Ask the question again, see if it comes again.
Okay. Can I cure things? Yeah, it's a slight pulsing in this finger.
Okay. Now ask, can I kill a virus?
Can I kill a virus?
And see if you get anything on that. Tell me if you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's that? What does that feel like?
It's a pulsing also,
Okay.
but it's now like on down here.
Oh, I see. Oh, I saw that. It's behind the
Yeah.
camera. I didn't catch it at first. Okay. Nice. Did you feel any different just then when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, what was that difference?
Connecting to my body, kind of a relaxing feeling.
Which is what everybody says they get that.
Yeah.
That's the same exact thing, except as you go on with this, it's going to have all kinds of different variations of the feeling. Now, this feeling, this good feeling
Yes.
we're experiencing, that's a signal. You are now going to be trained, should you choose to accept your training. Your mission impossible, should you choose to accept it, will be to follow a thread of signals
Okay.
to and beyond a negative medical test.
Okay.
So you're going to get a negative medical test, and then you're going to go past that. Because the bad news is, when you get your negative medical test, and your doctor says, okay, we're not picking up herpes in your blood or whatever they test for, you're probably still going to be hosting the disease.
Okay.
To cure the disease, you have to take it to another, like, pitch,
Okay.
another harmonic.
Right. Right.
So, how'd you do with that? Have you started getting signals? You notice that Molly got 2 kinds of signal. Everything happened for her right in those first few moments. Not everybody's like that. Molly actually illustrated the 2 basic kinds of signals that give you immediate feedback that you've cured something right in that little first moment, very first moment when she started, one of the signals is the finger movement, the twitch, pulse. In one of your fingers, you can't predict which one it's going to come in. Can be any one, probably one of your pinkies. And the other signal that you saw Molly get was a good feeling. Far more important than the finger twitch, because a finger twitch can mean anything. A good feeling, on the other hand, is an obvious signal that you've cured something. Even if it's only a slight relaxation or letting go, you feel better when you're not sick anymore, right? Okay, so a good feeling probably means you're a little less sick. So if you suddenly, out of the blue, start feeling better while you're listening to me talk, that might mean you've cured something, yes? If that happened. Even if you don't know what the something that you cured was, something you might not have even known was there till it was gone. Not your disease, but it might have been a contributing thing to your disease, or maybe it was part of your disease, or something. It could have been, but it just could have been something else. And that's what every one of these experiences, these tests, these moments of boom, discharge is. It's a moment of cure. Now, so we haven't gotten to your disease yet, okay? But something for Molly, I'll tell you in a minute, actually, was cured. So the good feeling may take a little longer, a lot of times, than the finger movement does. You need to look for it after you get the finger movement. For most people, sometimes it comes in a second or two, which can be, that can feel like a long time after the finger movement. Or it could be a minute or two, which is definitely a lot longer time. But the good feeling is also way more important. Isn't that why you're doing this? You want to feel better, right? Yeah? And sometimes the good feeling is so small that you really have to look to even notice it, that it's there. But it's a signal, so you want to be looking for it. That change in the way you feel, just remember that that change in the way you feel is a signal that you're supposed to be looking for, that says you've cured something. So this isn't just a nice thing that happens and, you know, if it hits you over the head, fine, and if not, you don't have to pay any attention to it. That's a more important signal than the finger movement. Why am I beating this to death? Because most people don't understand that. That's why. No kidding, they really, it's funny because you'd think they would. You'd think people would know when they feel better. That's supposed to mean something, but it's like, goes right past them. People don't understand themselves. It means that you've cured something. For Molly, it meant that she cured, now I'm going to tell you, it meant that she cured anxiety and depression. Just in that little moment that you saw there, that instant, that second, that was an instance of being well. An instant of being well, a moment of cure that can possibly expand into a life of being well, a life free of anxiety and depression. That change in the way she feels. I'm just going to play that little part of Molly for you again, because you should really notice this. And just to make sure we're on the same moment and you know what I'm talking about.
It's now like I'm down here.
Oh, I see. Oh, I saw that it's behind the camera. I didn't catch it at first. Okay. Nice. Did you feel any different just then when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, what was that difference?
connecting to my body, kind of a relaxing feeling.
Which is what everybody says they get that.
Yeah.
Not everybody is like her. People get a finger movement and they don't feel any different. That's most finger movements. Other people feel different and they don't get a finger movement. That happens. I've seen people start testing by a change in the way they feel. And each test for any given person is different. And most people get them right near each other, you know, the way Molly did. I'm just going to show you somebody else here. Get anything?
Well, I did make a little right hand twitch here.
Okay. So you feel any different? You do feel different because I can tell because you're laughing. I can tell that little laugh there.
Oh, it's pretty common, huh?
Yeah, it's very, oh, everybody, yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's Bob, another one of my neighbors. You can see he got them both, the good feeling and the finger movement, just like Molly did, right next to each other, right? Almost simultaneously. That was his first time also. And as you can see with him, sometimes the good feeling, you notice the good feeling when it sort of comes over you, and all of a sudden, it's like, it really is a signal. You know, it's like all of a sudden you break into a little grin, or a little involuntary laugh, like Bob did, or sometimes a big laugh, a big involuntary laugh. I was just sort of demonstrating it for you there. No, actually, I don't know why. I do enjoy making these movies, but I tend to also just feel good while I'm doing this, you know, telling you about this, I guess, so I laugh. With most tests, there is no change in the way you feel. This is also, maybe I'm missaying this stuff, because most of the time when you test, there's no change in the way you feel. You're going to see that in a minute. I'm going to play somebody else for you. When Molly was testing that question, let me ask you this first. When Molly was testing that question, did you get a signal? Did you apply that, or afterwards, as I've been talking, did you apply that question that Molly asked to yourself and see if you got a signal? And the question was, can I cure things? Can I cure things? So, have you started getting signals yet? Now, it might just be better to let this movie keep playing, whether you're getting signals or not. And as you go along, see what signals you get and hear more as you hear more people, or as I say, something I say may suddenly trigger. Boom, your finger starts jumping all over the place. It happens to people all the time. Okay, so like, for example, this next woman that I'm going to show you, when she started getting signals, it was in her side, and she started getting signals on the things I was saying. When I made this movie that you're going to see with her, she started getting signals on the things I was saying. So she wasn't actually turning anything into a question. She was just listening, and signals came. Her fingers started jumping all over the place when I said things. That was especially when I said things that were especially relevant to her, that were important for her. You know, that maybe she might not have been as aware of as she could have been, as, you know, that the thing was important. She got a signal telling her it was important. So that helped her notice it. That helped her hear me. So what you see here is a section, of course, of a much longer conversation. And I think this section is especially relevant to us right now. Her name is Sammy, and she called me because Sammy wants to lose emotional baggage. She lives in Queens. She doesn't have a physical disease to cure. She wants to be well in the emotional area. Okay, here she goes.
Okay, strong yes, I guess.
Got a strong yes, okay. And I noticed you also laughed slightly.
Because I was like, yes, like a prolonged yes.
Very good, very good. Test, have I cured anything?
Have I cured anything? Yes.
You got a yes. Okay. Ask, have I cured more than one thing?
Have I cured more than one? Yes.
More than 10 things?
More than 10 things? No.
Okay, before we go on, I want to share something with you. Do you know that while you're doing this, I can test for you also? I've been testing while you're testing.
Yeah, does that happen all the time?
I wasn't even consciously trying to, it was just happening. And I guess, no, it doesn't, let me test, does it happen all the time? I get no, but it happened the last few times it did. And I just want you to know that you can test for anybody just like I can.
Yeah.
So you can actually know anything. Now,
yeah.
What?
Sometimes when I hear people testing for themselves, I don't know if that answer is for me or for them.
Right. So you're doing fine with that. You get the you separate yourself from them.
No, I don't know if the answer I get is it's an answer for them or if it's for me.
You have to test that and separate it when that happens. Okay. In fact, even if you do know, you should still check it. Okay. Do you feel any different than before we started?
Yeah.
How so?
A tad bit lighter, I guess. Yeah, I got a yes, a tad bit lighter.
So you tested yes on a tad bit lighter?
No, I got a yes.
You tested yes. Okay, good. So you're testing your feelings. That's good. Very good. So you just realized, this is what I'm going to say this to you, you just realized that you cured something. That's what that's what it is to realize that you've cured something. And that's what you must do. You must realize that you've cured things. What did you want to say?
I didn't hear that, but then at the end I got it.
Okay. Now I want you to test that. Have I just realized that I cured something?
I got a yes.
Okay. So are my cures real to me?
Are my cures real to me? Yeah.
Okay, got to see. Okay, good. Sammy started getting signals, as I was saying, in her side, not in her finger. And I asked her to change the signal to her finger. And it took her a couple of days, but she did that. Look, I know there's a lot here. I mean, it's a lot for me to say this stuff. This is a lot to let in for you. For sure, some things are going by you without you even hearing them, and that's okay. Just enough of it has to get in to get you started. Different things wake different people up. So pay attention to what you hear, what you do hear. You know, pay attention to the things that jump out at you or the things that you especially understand, and let the other things go for a while. Because let's just go on. It's going to be almost a straight up climb from here. This movie is going to get more intense as we go along. We're actually going to show you how to cure it here. So just take the things with you that seem to make sense to you. And maybe the other things that you didn't hear or didn't make sense or whatever, they'll make sense later. Or you'll hear them later. Because I'm going to show you examples of people curing things now. The specific way that you do it is going to look somewhat different. But you're going to be doing the same things that they do. Does that make any sense to you? It's going to be the same, but different. Because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be your personal cure for your personal thing, your herpes, your cancer, your Graves' disease, your arthritis, your secondary arthritis as a result of lupus, your problem with intimacy, your failure to attract the things that you want into your life, these are all curable. And I've watched people cure them all. And tons more too. All different things I've seen people cure over the years, the many, many years of watching people cure things. And you have a lot to learn here, obviously. This is going to take time, right? And you're going to need to feel your way with this and slow down and not expect more of yourself than you're capable of. You're going to have to find your thread. Well, when you were watching Sammy, the last woman, who was very shaky when she started, by the way, and that movie was made maybe 2 weeks after she started, did you notice that she was asking a lot of rapid-fire questions and getting signals on each one of them, and another signal every few seconds? And that she was following the thread of those signals, and it all ended up in a good feeling and some realization. That's what it's usually like for everybody. Did you see that happen as she was going along there? So you have to start doing that. What you just saw her doing, those rapid-fire tests. Those rapid-fire tests, you have to start. If you are getting signals, you need to start look for signals when I talk, and change things I say into questions or true-false statements right now or as soon as you can. Do that about whatever you can think of to be curious about. Ask as many questions and get as many signals as possible. That's the rule. That's the approach. Start in whatever halting and faltering way you can crank yourself into it. That's the approach. You just mess it up, but you're doing it. Or some version of it. Your version of it, which is all you're ever going to do. And do that while this movie is playing. Leave this movie playing. Don't turn this movie off. That would be a mistake, because the next thing I say could be the thing that breaks you through. Or the next person you see. You know, the next person I show you gives you the breakthrough. Like you resonate with that person. Some of these people you're going to resonate with more than others. See, we have experience. A lot of us collaborated on this. We know what to show you. We're going to show you how to get your specific cure in this movie. And this movie is not just about getting started. This movie is about curing. You are being trained right here, right now, whether you know it or not, to stop a flu. Even a deadly, incurable flu like West Nile virus or bird flu or H1N1 in half an hour. In half an hour. Did you hear that? That was an important one. Even if you've been sick with it for 3 days. That's right, that's what I'm saying. You can be 3 days down with the flu and half an hour curing it. It's that fast. If you haven't already noticed. This is very fast. Well, Molly cured 2 medically incurable diseases. You watched her do it. Did you feel any different just then when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, what was that difference?
Connecting to my body, kind of a relaxing feeling.
Which is what everybody says they get that. Clinical anxiety and depression are incurable. They treat them forever. They never get over them. And you saw her drop them instantly the minute she got a signal. So, as you watch the people coming up, you're going to see how quick this is. My goal for you is that at the end of this movie, you are completely equipped to cure what you came in here to cure. And then, if you need some help, you can call me. My number's on the contact page of this college. That's how I made these movies. People call me. So push through, because you're going to be shown exactly how to cure your cancer. And you can turn that around in 2 or 3 weeks. That's right, you can turn cancer around in 2 or 3 weeks. That's what I've seen people do. That's everybody who did. That's standard. I mean, that's what it takes. That's not the exceptional miracle with this. And you should be practicing while I show you that. Even if you can't give me 100% of your attention, it's more important to practice than to try to listen to every word I say. Practice is more important. The things that you need from this movie will jump out at you as they go by. So do everything you can for yourself starting now. Apply what you're watching. Adapt it to yourself. And there will be points, okay, when I tell you to pause the movie, you know, and do things. So, as a matter of fact, one of those nice places is coming right up here, where you're going to shut down this movie. And I'm going to give you an assignment. The basics of curing your disease is coming. That's going to be your assignment, which I'm going to show you how to do it. And then I'll be sending you off. So you'll have to turn off the computer in the middle of the movie. Does it seem to you like you have attracted this to yourself? You attracted the cure, like the law of attraction. You've heard of that, right? Because that's what you're coming into. As you remove your dysfunctions, you discover that you have always been attracting everything wonderful to yourself. It's just that most of the time you didn't realize that it was there and it went away. And that's why you ended up with what you got, which was, maybe later you looked at it and go, oh my God, I got exactly what I didn't want, well, that's why. It's the dysfunctions. You see, the dysfunctions interfere, and the dysfunctions will interfere with you curing this. So part of your cure will be removing your dysfunctions, which I had been doing for months before I discovered that I could cure my herpes, which was the very first cure of an incurable disease ever in human history, by this kind of intentional, methodical, focused, conscious approach. You see, so we're doing this. We're doing this consciously. Yes. Have you been testing what I've been saying? Are you looking for, and like as I'm talking, do you test true or false, or just ask yourself questions about it? Have you been doing that? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. And which I just told you a few minutes ago. Are you also looking for spontaneous signals, like where you're not actually, testing it. You're not saying, you're not asking a question about it. You just are conscious of your hands and, being with your body and your feelings and your intuition as I talk, and all of a sudden your finger moves and you go, oh my God, wait, what did he say? Why did my finger move? What was he saying? Or what were you thinking maybe? Because obviously what I'm saying is going to inspire thoughts in you, so your finger may move because of one of your thoughts. More likely than what I'm saying, actually. And so but anyway, you roll the movie back, like you move the slide control back, and then you play it again, and then there you have your finger, and you're saying, okay, is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Oh, wait a minute, that was what it is. You see? So, okay. That's called a spontaneous signal. The next woman that you're going to see, Keely Stahl, the editor-in-chief of this web college. She is Aunt Keely, your Aunt Keely, who writes the Aunt Keely column for the Cure Drive. Are you a Cure Drive member? That's the first thing you were supposed to do when you got here. When you started watching this movie, which, the sign-up is right next to my head. Do you notice right there? See if there's this little place where you put in your email address. You can do it while you're listening to me right now if you haven't already. And then you hit send, which will then shut down the movie. And when the movie shuts off, when you come back to continue watching it, you're going to have to let it load. You're going to have to let it buffer, you know, for a few minutes before you can slide yourself forward with the slide control to your place back here. And which, if you were not a Cure Drive member a minute or so ago, I'm going to assume that you're now getting serious about this and you realize that you were supposed to be in the Cure Drive and you joined while you were thinking about it. So now you've done that and you're back. And I'm going to assume that you're a Cure Drive member right now. And that I'm talking to a member of the Cure Drive. We got that out of the way. All right. So, Keely's, who's the next woman I'm going to show you Keely in a minute. Keely's advice column goes out every day. You should be getting an email from her, since you're now a Cure Drive member, with a little pithy bit of advice within the next few hours. Look for it. And you're now going to study a segment of Keely killing viruses. Won't that be nice? Okay, I give you your Aunt Keely, the crown princess of the Cure Drive. Now, what's that test on? What did you just got a signal there?
What was I doing? I was just doing my gravitational body because I had never quite scanned it that way before. That's usually the way I scan my karmic body.
Uh-huh. Do it out loud and show us what you're doing.
Well, I'm testing that there's a virus there. There's a virus in various places in my gravitational body. Moving it as I find it. Okay, now my gravitational body is free of all viruses. My celestial body is free. My spiral body is free. My etheric body is free. My astral, karmic.
Wait. Okay, so that's what an advanced person looks like when they're taking out a virus. Viruses may or may not be a cofactor in your disease. I suggest that when I play that clip again, which I will, that you test things like that for yourself. Like, are viruses a cofactor in my disease or not? You know, or you could do that right now if you want. And also whatever else comes up as you're watching the clip. And also, do I have whatever Keely's testing for in whatever body she's talking about? And you're already supposed to have done that just now when you were watching her, so we're going to be, you know, maybe redoing or maybe building on what you just did when you watch the clip again. And this is the kind of thing you're going to be doing in your assignment, which we're working up to. I'm getting you ready to do this assignment now. That's what we're doing. Okay, just so you know. Now, had I just been listening to Keely, my first thought would be, what is the gravitational body? What? What? What's that? So now, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that you need to know about your gravitational body right now. You ready to let this in? Okay. Your gravitational body is a piece of New Age psychobabble. It's meaningless, worthless mind speak. That's what it is. Unless you cure your herpes by taking herpes out of it. And then, at that point, the gravitational body and keeping it squeaky clean becomes the #1 most important priority in your entire life. And fortunately for you, you don't even have to know you have a gravitational body to remove herpes or cancer from it. Or, as you will hear with Keely, an incurable and potentially lethal liver disease from it. Because you can test for it. You can test, is that there, without knowing that you have one of the bodies, or that, you don't have to know anything, okay? You can just test, see? That's what's so nice about testing. Like, you don't have to be smart to do it, and you don't have to be rich to do it, and you don't have to be cool to do it. You can just do it anyway, You can be a square who's totally stuck in your head, and you can, and never knew anything in your life, and you can still do this, see? You don't have to have meditated. You don't need any experience with meditation to do it, okay? And the gravitational body was one of the places that, the hiding places where Keely found that incurable and potentially lethal disease of the liver, story TK. And the force that gave Keely the signal that she cured it, certainly knew where it was. See, the force knows where this stuff is. Use the force, Luke. The higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. And this, what I just told you, is for you right now the most important thing that you need to know about your gravitational body. So you just learned some, see? You just found out how this works. Keely is an unstoppable force of cure for herself and other people. There are many, many Keely stories. For today, the one you're going to hear right now is the one about that incurable liver disease, before I show her to you again, or show you her again. I like to use bad grammar in these movies. It drives Keely crazy. Keely is the editor-in-chief of the Web College, meaning my editor. Meaning, Keely called me a couple of days ago and told me, editor's note, I mispronounced at the beginning of this movie the words ankylosing spondylitis repeatedly. Well, I am a monkey's uncle because I did it again. In the editor's note, I mispronounced ankylosing spondylitis. Hopefully a disease that neither you nor I will ever need to pronounce since you're learning this. I mean, why couldn't she have cured mumps, or HIV, something I can pronounce, Well, you got to give Keely a lot of credit for commitment, okay? She's on the job all day, every day, and she's been doing that for 17 years, since 1993, and she was never paid a red cent for doing it. This is really a gift you're getting here. We expect a lot of you. Okay, the story about Keely. Keely was diagnosed with an incurable and potentially lethal liver disease. Her doctor, who was a specialist in that field, obviously she went through a whole bunch of referrals to get to this guy. I guess he was the department head at Jefferson, possibly. I don't remember exactly. She didn't know exactly what the disease was. He said it was one of 3 potentially lethal liver diseases. Obviously, it can be very hard to diagnose liver diseases. Anyway, the doctor gave her, at the outside, 7 years to live with this disease. That was in 2001. So I'll tell you what happened. Here's the story. Keely told me right after she saw the doctor, Keely called me up. That day, I was in my car shopping. And she drops this news on me that her doctor said she's going to die, okay? And my first thought was, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do without Keely? Keely has been my right hand for 30 years or so. I really got scared. See, that's the point, my story here, the part about me. After all my training and experience, me founding this and everything else, I just lost it. Even though I had done all that curing, I'd been watching people cure things for years. I started with this in 1993. My knee-jerk reflex was still to believe the doctor when he told Keely that she was going to die. Like there was no hope. I mean, I went back to where I was in 1992. I regressed, you know, to 1992. You know, like I was before I ever cured anything, before I ever saw anybody else cure anything. So the point of the story about me, the part about me, is that, in case you haven't already guessed what I'm leading up to, I was brainwashed. We are brainwashed by Western medicine, fear and helplessness, which make us docile, so that we get into that big machine that they, you know, that they draw you into. You know, you know, we're very, very happy to do that always, because fear and hopelessness lurk inside of all of us. That's why I reacted like that. You know, a click word response, we go right back to it. And that was one of my symptoms. And it's not there all the time. I know sometimes you feel very confident, and then other times you are going to find that you feel exactly the way I'm talking about right now. I just went right into it. But fortunately, Keely and I always do this together, see? So it passed quickly when we started doing this. Otherwise, I would have been stuck in it. We would have cured nothing. Because, you know, generally you don't cure things at the doctor's office. The doctor will tell you that. He will say there's no cure. Okay? See, I'm probably okay now. I've watched person after person cure cancer over the years. May I show you, you know, I want you to see this. This is the Cancer Cure Show page. Okay, just have a look at this. So this is the home page where you are right now. And there's the movie you're watching at the upper left. Now, if you go to the very end of this page, the bottom, there is, voila, a hyperlink area, a pink hyperlink area. And in that hyperlink area, as you can see, there's a nice long list of diseases. These are cure shows. And there you will see CMV, cytomegalovirus, HIV, lupus, MS, obsessive-compulsive disorder. And these are all things I've watched people cure, and you can hear these people actually curing things in the cure show. This is the Cancer Cure Show. So as you can see that it's got movies about the disease where you actually see people curing the disease in the movie. But the audio cure shows, which are in the columns, and like in the second column there you can see there's a whole list of audio cure shows. And these go into way more detail than do the movies. You know, now just, you know, for point of accuracy about this story, so you get the timeline right, those cure shows that you're looking at there did not happen before Keely's liver disease. They happened after 2002. Okay, Keely's liver disease was 2001, I guess. Maybe even 2000, maybe in the fall of 2000. I can't totally remember exactly when it was. I mean, my memory of talking to her on the phone while driving with my headset, I use a headset, okay, is vivid. Is vivid, you know. But the people in the cure shows contacted us later. But you know what? Those cure shows are examples of things that I was seeing for years before we ever had a cancer cure show. So I have no excuse because, you know, my first cancer cure was 1993, Edith Huber. So I have no excuse. I mean, I saw this way before Keeley cured the liver disease, which is what happened. I mean, Keeley cured the liver disease. So anyway, okay. So Keeley and I started curing the liver disease right there on the phone in my car while I was shopping. That's what we did. While I was driving. And my fear disappeared within a few minutes while I was doing that after we did a little immunics. She and I, that's what we call this, we call it immunics. She was removing the things and I was asking her questions. And I didn't consciously try to cure anything, but I did. I cured some while I was doing that. I just asked her questions and she tested them. And I told her to remove things and she did, and I cured some. And so did she. She started to anyway. See, that's the nice thing about this. It's instantaneously available, no matter where you are or what you're doing. If you find out that somebody's sick while you're shopping, you can cure them while you're shopping. And you don't have to stop shopping. And that's what I did with Keeley that day. I shopped and cured. Okay, look, I don't want to give myself too much credit here, okay? Keeley did all of the curing on this herself. Most of it without me anywhere near her. And 2 months later, 2 months after her initial diagnosis, 2 months after the doctor gave her 7 years to live, you're listening to this? 2 months from the time that Keeley called me in my car that day, or maybe it was 3 months, I don't remember actually. But anyway, short, okay? That same doctor retested her, and this time she had a liver biopsy, not just blood tests. And all the medical tests came up negative, nothing, clean. Healthiest liver they ever saw. You know, without Keeley, a bunch of her friends would be dead, as well as a lot of the rest of the people on this planet, and as well as Keeley. Keeley is a lifesaver, including her own life. And here she is again, okay? This is the same clip, be with it. Now, what's that test on? What did you just got a signal there. What?
I was just doing my gravitational body because I had never quite scanned it that way before. That's usually the way I scan my karmic body.
Uh-huh. Do it out loud and show us what you're doing.
Well, I'm testing that there's a virus there. There's a virus in various places in my gravitational body. Moving it as I find it. Okay, now my gravitational body is free of all viruses. My celestial body is free. My spiral body is free. My etheric body is free. My astral, karmic,
Wait. Were you testing for yourself when you were watching that? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Because then you're going to do the assignment, and in the assignment you're going to be off without the computer, without looking at anybody, unless you get a friend to take a walk with you and do it, which would be very good. Okay, so if you did what you saw Keeley doing, I'm now removing that, and if you got a signal, did the way you feel change? I am preparing you to do the assignment where you methodically cure your disease. This is going to be where you systematically, methodically, dependably, predictably cure your disease. And what you're doing here is supposed to inspire questions in you that I'm not feeding you. You're supposed to be inspired with this, inspired with questions like, can I remove that? Questions that you can test, true, false questions, you know, they're supposed to pop into your head, or maybe you have to force yourself to think of, I don't know, but, you know, yes, no questions like, is what Byard is saying right now relevant to me? That's a question. See if you get a signal on that. Test questions or statements such as, do I have viruses hiding in me? How about bacteria? How about parasites? I'm saying you should ask specific questions. Do I have emotional dysfunctions hiding in me? Are those that I'm not aware of? Am I emotionally dysfunctional in ways I'm not aware of? Are those emotional dysfunctions obvious to other people? Might be something good to know. Or things like, am I afraid to know these things? Test that. See if you get a signal on that. So you're supposed to be testing, otherwise watching this movie is worthless. All right. I bet if I play that clip again for you, you will see new questions. Let's try that. No, we're going to have other clips, but let's try the same clip. Let's see if you get new questions from watching the same thing. Because then you'll know that you can watch the same movie over and over and over again, and every time you watch it, you'll learn something new. And look, okay, maybe you're anxious to go on, you know, you want to get to the assignment. Relax. Stop the type A behavior, okay? It's just relax. It's okay to be with this. You know, this is it. What's your hurry? You're here. Sign at the entrance to Key West. You know, what's your hurry? You're here. Some people need what I'm doing right now, and you can still get something out of this anyway. You know, you could get something new out of this if I played this again 10 more times, which I'm not going to do. So, all right, watch again. Be inspired. Now, what's that test on? What did you just got a signal there?
What? I was just doing my gravitational body because I had never quite scanned it that way before. That's usually the way I scan my karmic body.
Uh-huh. Do it out loud and show us what you're doing.
Well, I'm testing that there's a virus there. There's a virus in various places in my gravitational body. Moving it as I find it. Okay, now my gravitational body is free of all viruses. My celestial body is free. My spiral body is free. My etheric body is free. My astral, karmic,
Wait. Keely did not have a medically diagnosed disease of any kind when I shot that. The clip is recent. She had cured the liver disease years ago. She doesn't get the flu anymore. So she didn't have a viral-based disease that a doctor told her, okay? And she found a virus. Think about that for a minute. You know, give that a moment's thought. She found a virus when she wasn't down with something. See, so you're going to be finding viruses long after you get your negative medical test on the Epstein-Barr virus or cytomegalovirus or herpes or whatever it is that your doctor tells you, okay, we're not picking anything up anymore, and 20 minutes later, you're going to test that you've got it. And then you've got to take it out again. And then if you get the good feeling, you'll know you really did have it. You know, you weren't mistesting it or something, you know. When you get the good feeling after removing something, you can be pretty sure you had it. Because the reason you were not feeling the good feeling was because you had it. Otherwise, you'll just feel the good feeling all the time. Which you can really be, you can have a nice life, you know, you can feel the good feeling all the time. And you know, but then at some point, you won't find the herpes or the CMV or the Epstein-Barr anymore. you know, it'll really be gone for good at some point if you keep it out. You have to keep looking for it. See, you look for it in the gravitational or the spiral or the other bodies, the celestial body. That's where they start, you know, before they get into the physical body. You got to get them now when they're in those bodies, and then they don't ever get in the physical body. I never had another herpes outbreak after the very first day I took my herpes out because I kept it out. You know, years ago, a woman wrote in from Israel. I think her name was Nurit. Well, it was an email, so. She and her husband, the doctor was, they were going to, well, I guess they have state medicine there. They were going to terminate her pregnancy. She had cytomegalovirus. And 10 days later, or a few weeks later, not long at all, she was right on the verge of them terminating the pregnancy when she found this. She got a negative medical test. And I assume she was very rigorous about keeping out CMV because a bunch of months later we got another email. She had a healthy baby girl. And that's what it can be, you know. And if the people who did my courses many years ago, I made millions. I mean, we used to make $1.5 million a year or so doing those courses, and they did not teach cure. They did not teach this. We did not teach. This was before 1992. See, that's the line of demarcation. Was 1993. When I cured my herpes in July. And before that we did these courses, and after that we didn't. And they were good courses, you know. People got a lot out of them, and I enjoyed giving them, and it was fun, you know. But I needed to put all my time into this. And that's why I stopped doing them, because it's things like this woman whose name I'm not real sure I can pronounce properly. Nuit, or whatever. And Yaron, her husband's name was Yaron. And their baby, saving that little baby, you know, it's rocket fuel. I mean, it's kept me going. I'm still with it, you know, and I lost touch with them years ago. I wrote an email, and the email address had been discontinued, so it happens with people's email addresses, you know. Anyway. So the longer you do this, the more completely you realize that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life, and certainly the foreseeable future. See, we're picking up things at the subclinical level where your doctor can't see them. That's what's so great about this. We get them before they ever manifest physically. That's why none of us ever get sick. I haven't had a flu since 1993. Okay, now I'm going to show you a different clip of Keely. It's still Keely, okay, but a different clip. Watch.
Well, I haven't really been interfered with a lot, because when I test for viruses, I may not have been, I mean, I probably was getting a lot of interference, because I test for viruses very often.
You're going to find that you get tests that they're there when they're not.
Well, it's more that they get tests that they're not there when they are.
Yeah, you'll get that too. Okay, now you got something new to deal with. Yeah, interference. Now you got something new to deal with. So you knew this was going to get more involved as you went along, right? I mean, you knew that. You ain't seen nothing, baby. Curing cancer this way is for committed and dedicated students who apply what they see and follow all the directions. You get the idea? You're going to have to work at this. You're going to have to spend your time, yeah? Okay? We've established that now, hopefully. And then as long as you take them out, you're going to have a chance. And you have a choice. Are you willing to actually do this? Okay, but don't worry, okay? Because if you are willing to do this, it's not as hard as it looks. Now, here it comes. Watch this. This is what happened after Keely interacted with that interference, okay? Watch this.
Well, I haven't really been interfered with a lot because when I test for viruses, I may not have been, I mean, I probably was getting a lot of interference because I test for viruses very often.
You're going to find that you get tests that they're there when they're not.
Well, it's more that they get tests that they're not there when they are.
Yeah, you'll get that too. So you have to dig down and go body by body, and then don't just test is there any. You can feel your gravitational body, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't just test is there any virus in my gravitational body. Actually feel your gravitational body and go through it. Feel it like, you know,
Yeah.
you just sort of scan it, and
Right.
all the little things that you see in it, just see if you get a finger movement on virus. Is that a virus? Is that a virus? So just the word virus.
Okay.
And don't have it in there
Okay.
at all. Now, what's that test on? What did you just got a signal there?
What was I doing? I was just doing my gravitational body because I had never quite scanned it that way before. That's usually the way I scan my karmic body.
Uh-huh. So you can see that Keely just noticed the interference and then she just went right on testing. So usually, if you just ask some more questions, go on getting signals, the interference disappears. Now, what you see here is an advanced person. Keely is an advanced person. Don't blame yourself if you're not as facile as she is, you don't know as much as she does. See, you can do the things that you see her doing. See, that's going to be the assignment. But you can't expect yourself to know what she knows. That is not a fair demand for you to place on yourself. You need more experience. You need to treat yourself with kindness and respect and accept where you are and accept yourself. See, I get a little afraid to show these movies to people sometimes. I'm going to feel so discouraged. Do not be discouraged. Give yourself some time to get going. Relax, enjoy this. Success is a journey. So enjoy the trip. That was trite. Okay, you know what? Keely and I were talking, okay, about you. We always talk about you, you know. And we were comparing you learning this way to you learning to swim. And see, when you learn to swim in a pool with a class, usually you hold onto the side of the pool and you learn to kick first, and then you wear water wings for a while and you learn how to stroke. And after a while, you're told to put them all together, take off the water wings, and swim, okay? Swimming is complex but feels simple when you learn that way. Now, what you're doing here is you have an incurable disease. And you're learning alone with a movie on the World Wide Web. Learning this way is the equivalent of trying to learn to swim in the open ocean after a ship sinks in a gale. So if you're having trouble learning this, please don't blame yourself, okay? Just go on with it. And if you instantly started doing it a while back, you should know that you have a very good God connection. That's why that happened. Grace. It's grace. And if you didn't instantly learn it, it doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It just means that your head gets in the way. You're running a lot of head trips on yourself. You need to turn off the head trips. And if you don't turn the head trips off, you might drown. And you need to start asking questions right now. You know, you just have to have your own questions and ask them and see if you get a signal on them. And if you haven't been getting signals, keep testing till you get a signal. And not just when you're in front of the computer, all day. And after you start getting signals, whenever that is, whether it was an hour ago or now or whatever, you got to keep asking questions and keep getting signals all day, question after question after question, and make up the weirdest questions to ask. And that's how I became the person I am today. Asking questions builds character, young man and young woman. Testing your own questions builds character. You young whippersnapper. I'll teach you a thing or two. You can do this. You know? Okay. It's time for you to start. So I'm now going to give you the assignment, which is, this is the most basic curing assignment. You're going to be doing this assignment way past the point where you get a negative medical test, until your disease is completely gone. So you're going to do an hour or so of it now, and then you're going to start the movie again. And you may cure the disease in this hour, and even if you do cure the disease in this hour, you have to keep repeating the assignment over and over and over again. When you cure the disease, it won't mean you don't have it. That's what I want to say. It may be back. You have to keep checking. But when you cure the disease, you're going to know, one way you will know, actually, you know, we call this the Big Bang. And it's where you have an experience where it's a version of that relaxed, calm, clear, courageous, loving, caring feeling that is very, very profound. That happens within a minute or two of curing the thing, but it lasts a little longer. See, when you're sick, this calm feeling is cumulative. So at some point, you're just a lot calmer than you used to be ever. You know, I mean, like your whole being changes permanently, and it's it's continuous. It does do that. That does happen because that's your natural state. Your normal state is stress-free, calm, clear, relaxed, courageous, loving, powerful, intuitive. That's who you are. I mean, that's just your reality. And in that state, you are in an absolute state of being with the law of attraction. It's total synchronicity, and everything goes your way. I experienced some version of that in my life. Obviously, I'm not completely. Maybe nobody ever gets completely cured of everything. Well, what do I know? It's all speculation, but definitely I'm different than I used to be. And so is everybody I know. Okay, all the people I know for years, they are really different. All of them are really different. And certainly they manifest all the things they want. Obviously, that's true. I mean, look at Keeling living in her condo over the ocean, which is where she always wanted to live and didn't. She lived in a condo over the pool before, in Philadelphia, and the pool was closed for half the year. So she's definitely upgraded. But anyway, you get the idea, here. I mean, it's just, when you're functional, things go your way. That's how things go your way. Which is what my old courses were about, which made, stopping teaching them a lot more easy for me to do, because I knew we were going to get the same result, okay? So I was happy about that. I had something I could be happy about. So I didn't just abandon what I was doing, I just continued doing it in a simpler and more direct and easier and faster form. It was like getting a laptop computer with a 1,000 gig hard drive and replacing the old TRS-80 with that. You know what I'm saying? We had TRS-80s back in the day. We know what old computers are like, and they were fun. It was good to be a pioneer, and it was good not to be a pioneer anymore and to have running water and electricity, okay? I like it now. It's better now. I don't like chopping wood anymore. Okay, so you are going to feel, okay, the point is, when you cured your disease, you may find it again in you later, but what you'll know you cured it because you have this very profound, unusually profound version of the calm, clear, relaxed place, the serene, empty place. You're going to realize that a lot of the compulsive thinking, the agitation that you have gone through all of your life is because you were desperately trying to figure out how to cure these legions of things that are wrong with you that are gone, or some of them are anyway, and then you'll feel, you know, less like you need to be like that anymore. You won't be, you know, you just feel better, you know. It's a good feeling. And that, of course, means you're on your way to a negative medical test if you haven't already got one. But it does not mean you should stop. It's not going to be time to check yourself out of the hospital, okay? That's what people think. They think this is the hospital and they want to check out as quick as possible. You know, and they don't realize you never leave. You're here forever, you know. It's nice here. That's what they don't quite get, you know. That, you know, this is simply a new ability that you've given yourself. It's a skill, and it has to be exercised and utilized, or you're throwing away God's gift. And God will simply, you know, continue loving you after you throw it away. If you throw it away and keep trying to give it back to you. Because God loves you unconditionally. But it doesn't mean that God can stop you from shooting yourself in the foot, okay? So unless you cure everything, you've cured nothing. Okay, you know what? You know what? So what I'm going to do here, I guess, is I think I'll just show you one more example. I'm going to give you another example of somebody doing the same thing that you're going to be doing in your exercise. You know, I want you to get used to seeing people do this. And well, we wouldn't want you to drown, okay? So here's another example of somebody killing a virus. And then we'll do the assignment, okay? Watch Esther. See what the first one says here?
Yeah, all my bodies are free of pathology.
Okay, but you would say, because you just tested for a virus, all my bodies are free of virus. So go ahead and do that.
All my bodies are free of viruses. Yes.
Do you feel any different?
I always get a kind of feeling of relief, like
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's another signal.
Mm-hmm.
It's the you have the finger signal, and then you have the relief.
Mm-hmm.
That's a signal that you've taken the virus out.
Yeah.
Now, what you would do. Now, see, as you can see from watching Esther, sometimes when you ask questions, you know, things cure themselves without you actually saying. You don't actually need to say, "I am now removing da-da, da-da." It's just, it happens as the signal comes. Actually, Keely was doing that too, if you notice it. You know, of course, Keely does everything like it's just all. See, these people are methodical, but they don't look methodical. But they really are. So anyway, if you're asking, do I have herpes in my gravitational body, and your finger starts moving, and when your finger starts moving, you feel a good feeling, or a little smile comes over your face, or a little laugh, you feel a little lighter or relieved. That feeling signal means that the question itself triggered you erasing the herpes. You didn't have to think about it anymore. It just happened in the middle. Or the cancer from your spiral body. And then you can just test, did I just cure that? You can ask, did I just cure that? Did God just cure that? Did the higher power just cure that? Did the force erase that? Luke. All kinds of questions should occur to you. And you need to test every question as it occurs to you right now. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be testing every question. without making too much of any one answer. You don't have to believe any of the answers. Just get them. Belief counts for nothing. Getting the signals counts for everything. Also, when you cure one thing, sometimes many other things come out with it. We say that things come out in clumps. Connected things can't exist. Things that are connected to each other can't exist when you take one of them out. So all of the things in that particular matrix just disappear, or sometimes partially disappear. Esther's been volunteering for the Cure Drive for years. Esther may be one of the people who helped you find the Cure Drive. Esther is also one of the people who moderates your email when you write into the Cure Drive, especially when you write in from Europe. So now it's time to begin to cure the disease that you came in to cure. And I'm going to show you how to do that. See, now I say again, what you saw Keely and Esther doing doesn't look organized or methodical, but it is. It's just that these advanced people have this method down firmly. So they don't look like they're going through any steps, but there are steps. And that's what you're going to learn in your assignment. You're going to learn how to organize. You're going to learn how to organize these things for yourself. And be thorough with taking out the disease. Because this is not really the open ocean. This is all really very safe. See, you're in your house. It's not the open ocean. Your disease probably isn't going to kill you immediately. And you have time to learn this now. You can do this. You just have time to slow down and be with yourself, pamper yourself, and learn how to do this. And anytime you do this, you're always going to cure something. Something is always coming out, even if you don't even know what it is. Yeah, well, everything you do with this causes you to feel better. Everything. But you can get discouraged. You can be feeling better and be discouraged. No matter how much you accomplish, even after your negative medical test, this is still going to feel like a shipwreck, like the open ocean. It's going to feel like your life is at stake, which it is, actually. Come to think of it. When you get discouraged, sometimes you can feel like there's no point in going on. I understand that. I've been there. You can be succeeding and panic in the middle, be discouraged in the middle, and want to quit in the middle. And those are symptoms. They're just more symptoms of your extensive pathological matrix. The matrix of pathology, the web of pathology in which you're enmeshed, and that made the context for you contracting whatever the disease is, the Graves' disease or HIV. And, people think these things like herpes or CMV are simple matters of exposure to the disease and then you get infected, and they're not. That's why not everybody who's exposed gets these diseases, or they don't get them every time. Some people require different exposures at different times of their lives and so on. And this is just something that this is lost on most people. They do not understand this. That the pathological matrix is that was the fertile soil in which the cancer grew. Or as Pasteur said, the disease is nothing, the terrain is everything. And he was talking about the physical environment, of course, there, which is part of what I'm talking about, by the way. Absolutely part of what I'm talking about. And the physical environment, or the ignoring of it, is actually another symptom. you know, the place that you find yourself geographically can be, and for most people, is a symptom of this matrix of pathology in which you're enmeshed. And when you notice a symptom, when a symptom rears its ugly head and you're looking at a symptom, you're discouraged. It means you're immediately supposed to test. Start testing right then and there. Test the negative thoughts. Test the panicky thoughts. Test the discouragement. Test your way out of it. Test your way through it. Test your way past it. And test your way above it. You have to test your way to cure. You're following a thread of signals to a cure, to a series of cures, and one of the cures in the series of cures is the disease that you came in with. So just go on, keep going, keep plugging away, keep trying, and be very organized and methodical, which is what you're now going to be trained in this assignment I'm going to give you now. You're going to go do this, and you're going to be practicing being methodical and organized, which will cause you to keep your wits about you and not be frightened of the disease, and know you can cure it. And the more of this you do, the more certain you will become that you will cure what you came in to cure and have it completely out of your body, and not have cancer come back in 3 years after you've cured it. Never get cancer again for the rest of your life. Forever. Never get it again. So, okay, now you're going to need your password for the web college when I'm going to show you where to go in the web college. Now, if you don't have a password for the web college, I guess it's time to get one. The sign-up is there. It's, you know, it says, see, it says starter kit next to my head. It's right under where you signed up for the Cure Drive, where you put your email address in. You can't miss it. So I'm going to now be treating you like you're a member. I'm going to assume if you needed to pause and get a password, you did, whatever. And I'm going to show you on the hub now. So keep watching here for a few minutes. I'm going to show you where to go. What you're going to have to do is print out all the things. You know, if you got your password a year ago or whatever, you know, and you never did this, and I wrote to you and said, watch this movie, and you watched it and you realized there was all this stuff in it you weren't applying, you know, in this movie. And so you're going to need to, finally, after all that time, you're going to print the things out that you never printed out when you were, you know, when you first saw the hub, and you saw it right there, it said print out, and you didn't print it out. And now it's time to have all your printouts that you're supposed to have, okay? So here, let's look at the hub for a second. Okay, here's the hub. Look in the upper right-hand corner. And you'll see it says print out. You're supposed to print out everything in that box. Let me move in on that a little bit, and you can see all the stuff above and also below the picture of the doctor. This is the movie of this doctor. That's what the link is, and he cured a flu in about 3 minutes during the movie. You can watch him cure the flu. It's fun. That was shot in Venezuela. And this is the pathologies list, just so you know what it looks like. I want you to know what these lists look like. Here's the list of bodies, just so we know we're on the same page. Okay. And I'll tell you, when you get to the hub, up there at the upper right, okay, way up there by that cobweb near the ceiling, is the that's the, you know, that's where it says, see where it says hub, that's where you click on that, and there it is. Okay, so now you're going to take a break and do all of this printing out. Okay, now you're supposed to have right now 2 lists in your hands, the list of pathologies and the list of bodies are the ones we're going to work with. And I'm going to break this down into steps, okay? So you're supposed to have these 2 lists in your hands, okay? And so step one, what you're going to do, have a look at the list of pathologies, and you're supposed to well, I should say before I get into this, you might want to do a little of each step while I'm talking, or you could even pause the movie for a moment, but not too long, because you want to see the whole method. Okay, don't go overboard with any one step right now. So but you can pause for a moment if you want. Like, for example, you want to find a pathology. It should be pretty easy. You know, you run your hand down the list, and it's like, boom, okay, your finger moves on one of them, you know, and you go, oh, that one, okay. And so let's say it's fungus, okay, whatever, you know. And you're going to work with only this pathology, okay? So you found the pathology, and now what you're going to do is you're just going to say, I'm now removing fungus from all my bodies. How hard can that be? You don't even have to pause the thing to do that, really. I'm now removing fungus from all my bodies, all funguses from all my bodies. And that's step two. Now, after you've done that, now go to the list of bodies. And you're going to test down that list of bodies. You're going to test very carefully now, not just run your finger down it real fast, you know, but very carefully look at each body and test, do I have any funguses in, and, you know, and then you see if you get a signal on, you know, the celestial body, let's say, and then you go down to this gravitational and through all the bodies, there's 12 bodies. But don't do that, what I just said. Stop when you get a signal on one of the bodies. And, okay, so that's step three, is just find that one body where the disease could be lurking before you go on to any of the other bodies. And now you're going to take, this is still step three, you're going to take the disease out of that body. And when you do, you're going to look for a change in you. And the change in the way you feel may tell you something about the body. You may start to experience the body when you're doing that. Like you may begin to experience your emotional body or your gravitational body or whatever when you do that. And then you're going to find another body and see if it, you know, you may find 2 or 3 bodies. Now you're probably thinking, well, how could it be in them? I just took it out of all my body, so why did I now find it in my emotional body? Well, because the answers that you get should not be taken literally, including the good feeling, which means you've cured something, and including the disappearance of symptoms. See, one of the signals that you've cured something is your symptoms disappear. Like you can hear on the flu cure show, people's flus disappear in 10 minutes. Their flu's gone. You know, the sore throat's gone. You know, their sinuses dry up. It's really funny. You know, I once watched a woman. She had a rosacea outbreak while she was staying at my house. It was the disease she came in to cure. One of them, anyway, was rosacea. She had a rosacea outbreak. And she cured it in 5 minutes. And she said, I'm going to, watch this, she said, I'm going to shrink the pustules and make the redness go away. She had trained herself with what you're learning here to be able to do that. And she did that, and I was watching her face, and the pustules just shrank, actually, almost like you could almost see them, and her skin changed back to a normal color. You don't believe me, do you? I'm saying all this stuff, and I mean, they don't believe this. You know, why am I telling them this? I didn't believe it when I was looking at it, so I can understand if you don't believe it. But that happened, you know. And this woman was not cured. She still, obviously, she had a rosacea outbreak, right? So she wasn't cured, you know. She has to keep it. When you have these diseases, I'm going to tell you, you must keep them out of the pre-physical bodies. Like all the other bodies are the pre-physical bodies. And the diseases start in the other bodies, different diseases in different bodies. Finding which body the disease starts in is a major endeavor. Where does it come in? You know, how does it get in? But when you find that, and you start stopping it there, when you start stopping the disease at the body where it's coming in, it's the end for the disease. It's not long. The disease is not long for this world at that point. When you can stop it right where it's at the body where it first enters and seal the body. Which there's all lessons on all this stuff in this college. You know, you're going to have to test down to see which lessons you should do. I'm not recommending any of these lessons. The assignment is to do this procedure that I'm in the middle of showing you. I'm right in the middle of showing you this. So all I'm saying is, when your symptoms disappear, when you get the good feeling, when you get the finger movement, or the negative medical test or whatever, do not take any of these signals literally. Don't take your negative medical test literally. It's not meant to be taken literally. It's just a test, like all the other tests. That's all it is. You know, all these things are just tests. But when you don't find the disease anymore for a long time, you can probably assume it's gone, long after you've never had any symptoms. So gone doesn't mean gone, does it? It just means you've accomplished something. Also, you should, you know, when you get, you know, the gone test, it means you ought to give yourself some credit. Okay, you remove that pathology that you have found from that body. You know, the body that you found it in. And you want to, like, you know, I mean, I'm almost hesitant to say this because it may intimidate you. I'm like, I worry about intimidating you, but you will be able to do this at some point. And if you can't do some of these things completely right now, just do the amount you can and then go on to the next step. See, that's why I broke this down into steps, see? Because what I'm going to tell you now is you actually want to be able to feel the body and feel that it's clean. And that's, you know, that the pathology is not there anymore. Like, you want to sort of have a contrast. You want to actually be able to feel, like, read the body and feel what the pathology is like, what the body feels like with the pathology in it, and then erase the pathology and feel what the body's like without it. And I just know you're listening to this and going, oh my God, you know, how am I going to do that? I'm not feeling anything. I'm barely getting a signal. So just don't get intimidated when you when your finger moves that the thing is out of the body. Go on to the next step. Okay? You know, give it a second to see if you can, you know, feel the body and, you know, try to feel all this stuff. But then just go on to the next step, because right now we just got to get you walking, and then later you can run, and later you'll be able to throw a football while you're running, and then dodge when, you know, as the tackle comes to hit you, and so on. So you're gonna we're gonna build its skill. Okay, I've been trying to tell you these are skills. And this is going to take your time. You know, I remember, I'm in the middle of telling you these steps, and here I'm going to tell you a story. But one of my clients back when I did my courses was a senior vice president at the largest foreign exchange bank in the world. And he came down to my house in the dead of winter. I had an old mansion in a park in Philadelphia. And he came down to my house for, you know, a few days to do a kind of retreat when we were first doing this. We had just started doing this. And he didn't have any physical disease. He wanted to do, well, the bank just got absorbed by Mitsubishi, and he was, you know, trying to, you know, figure, because he was gonna go, you know, so he wanted to get his wits about him. So that's what we were doing, you know, out there in this park walking through the snow and doing this together. And I remember he took something out of one of his pre-physical bodies, and he was silent for about 5 minutes, and we were walking along. You know, he was behind me. We were walking through on this narrow path through these deep snowdrifts, and he didn't say anything. And finally I turned around and I looked at him, and I realized he actually hit something that he really needed to remove. You know, so that's what it can be like, see? And of course, that's the point where you really are curing the thing. You know, and what we're doing now, you may get rid of your symptoms by doing this. You know, and you may never need to feel these bodies. I don't know, everybody's different. But anyway, this was step 3, okay? Step 3 is you remove that pathology from that body. Okay, and now step 4 is now you continue testing through the list of bodies. And then you find it in another body and so on, and you won't find it in certain ones, and you may find it in all of them. God, when I had a guy come to my house with HIV, and we cured it. You know, and he didn't just have HIV, he had AIDS. This was 96. Bill Pelly brought him. Not going to tell that story, but I will just say that when he first found it, it was in all his bodies. And of course, you know, a few hours later, when he found it again, the encouraging thing was when he found it again, he did not find it in all his bodies the second time. Okay, it was in many of them, but not all of them. So we realized we were getting somewhere, you know. So anyway, so step 4 is you continue testing through the list of bodies and find it in all the bodies that the pathology is in, and you remove the pathology from all of the bodies where you find it, which is step 4. Now, step 5 is you go back to the list of pathologies and you find another pathology and you remove that from all your bodies. And you repeat the previous steps with this new pathology, in other words, that's what I'm saying. So, and that's step 5, you know. And after you've done this for a while with several pathologies and you're feeling different, you want to be feeling different, and have removed a few pathologies from all of the bodies where you find the pathology. That's very important. Whenever you find a pathology, you must remove it from all the bodies that you find it in. And now you're going to do step 6, okay? And step 6, this is the step that you've been waiting for. And you've watched this entire movie. If you're like most people who come in here, maybe I'm not giving you enough credit, but if you're like most people that come in here, you're saying, how do I cure I just want to cure my disease. How do I do that? Just explain that to me. How do I cure my disease? And now you see why there's no short answer. Now, after watching all this, you now understand why there isn't any truncated answer that had been given to someone who asks that question would possibly kill them. You know, because when the guy says, how do I cure my cancer? Just explain it to me. And I'd say, well, you know, you remove your cancer from all your higher bodies. He may even just get turned off hearing that there are higher bodies and say, well, I don't believe in that. He'd be gone. He's dead. Then he's dead because there ain't no cure. You know, I was, yesterday I was, and now I got to tell another story. Franny's sister came to visit she lives in the Philippines and Spain usually, and she came to visit. So they're down in Sarasota, but she drove up with Franny to have lunch and have a little visit, and they found a bunch of snake plants. She's a gardening hobbyist. Franny's sister was Woman of the Year in Town and Country. Like, her face was on the cover of the magazine, okay? For her, she's just she's an important person. And she does amazing work. She builds schools for kids. That's what she does in the third world. Anyway, but she found a bunch of snake plants, and so they brought these up here. They didn't have any place to plant them there. The homeowners association at their dad's was throwing the plants away. So they said, we can't let they're beautiful, So, I mean, it was like a car full, though. I mean, this was like a truckload of snake plants. What am I going to do with them? So I said, well, would you mind if I give them to our neighbors? Well, I realized it's easier said than done, giving snake plants to your neighbors. Like, I went from neighbor to neighbor. Nobody only the ones that were outside talking or doing their yards or something, and nobody wanted any. So the last one I went to, my healthy neighbor, who just has a great house, beautifully done with wonderful feng shui, or feng shui, did I mispronounce that too? Anyway, he comes to the door in a walker. I mean, this is a healthy guy, he's 51. Leg broke. Cancer went into the bones. When his leg broke, he went in and they diagnosed it. It's lung cancer. And so I said, boy, are you lucky you know me. So, and I came in and wrote down the web address, and his computer wasn't booted up, so I just said, watch the movie, then we'll talk, And 17% chance they gave him. So I don't know whether he's going to watch the movie or not. Most people don't. That's the truth, is that most people, when you're going to find, when you tell people, go there, watch the movie, what else are you going to do? Unless you're somebody you're really going to spend time with and you can sit and show them how to test, but they're still not going to get it. People with cancer do not want to go on the web and learn how to cure it with finger signals, which is the only way they can cure it. This is the only cure for what this guy has. But that's not what they want to do. Unfortunately, they want to go to the Mayo Clinic and get it zapped, and then when they go there, when Oprah's helicopter drops her at the Mayo Clinic on the roof and the 18 doctors are standing lined up, oh, thank you for choosing the Mayo Clinic, at some point they have to break the news to her, sorry, we don't have a zapper. It hasn't been invented yet. They have to tell, and that's what they told him. He's got a 17% chance. So, anyway, I don't even remember how I got into this. But anyway, what I was saying is, I cannot give this guy some kind of truncated, how do I cure my cancer? Oh, he really has to see this whole thing to finally get to step 6, which is where you are now, which is you remove your disease. But see, you want to be feeling better, before you try that, okay? You want to have done something already. And then you say, I am now removing cytomegalovirus from all my bodies. And then that's step 1 or 2, I guess. And then you go through the steps, just like I showed you, which is, you should probably be taking notes. And I know Keely's going to say we should write a sheet for you, and you can have the notes all there in sheet form, and we should put a link next to the movie. And I'm going to tell her, no, we're not going to do that, okay? That the person has to be committed enough and interested enough to be sitting there with a notepad and trying these steps a little bit as you do it, and also writing them down in taking copious notes as I'm saying this, so that you take those in your car or on your walk. And then you're really with it. Because when somebody hands this to you like that, now, most of the things are written out and done in note form. And, Keely's heart is in the right place. See, that's the thing about her, is she's loving, And sometimes, like, this has got to be tough love here, okay? We cannot be, it can't be, sweet. It's got to, you're going to die unless you do this. And you got to do these steps the way I showed them to you, and then you're going to have to do a lot of other things. Do not, under any circumstances, get the idea that this is it. Okay, you're going to have to do a lot of other things. This is going to be work. Okay, and I feel like I'm glad I ran into my neighbor, Bob, because this is I needed to see him. I needed that. I needed to be with him. Because Bob is a real asset in this neighborhood, that guy. What he's done with his house is an example to all of us. No, really. Really it is. It's been an example. I mean, I have videoed his house and sent videos to Greg saying, we should do this and this and this, And this is not somebody I want to lose. So, anyway, this has got to be tough love. So, now we want to go back, now that you've taken your disease out, after you've done step 6, and you've done it with all the bodies, you've done all the steps with step 6, and now you want to go back and start looking for more pathologies. That's right. That would be step 7, I guess. Now you're not looking for your disease here, you're just continuing on through the pathology list. Any of these pathologies can be a cofactor in your disease. And see, going through all the, and you don't have to go through all the pathologies before you do step 6. You could do 3 and then do step 6 and then take out your disease, step 6. But that's called a round, okay? When you go through some pathologies and then take your disease out, that's called a round, and then you do another round. And after you've done 2 rounds, and of course it's optional how far you go with each round, you may still have some of the pathologies left after the second round, and you know that. Let me put it another way. You're going to have pathologies left after the second or the third or the fourth round. There will be some left. In fact, after you go through the whole list of pathologies and you say, oh wow, I finished the list of pathologies, start again at the beginning, okay? You'll pick up ones you didn't pick up before. And they'll be the same ones you did pick up. And sometimes you got it again. You reinfected yourself somehow. And sometimes you just didn't pick it up the first time. And you don't have to know about all this stuff right now. You just have to look. You got to look and remove. It's time for you to do now, not for you to understand the theory, Do and remove. Hour after hour, all day in your car, at lunch, when you're, like taking your coffee break in the afternoon if you work, or just all while you're working at Home Depot, walk around and test, or whatever. And if your job is really demanding, like you're a surgeon, so yes, maybe in the middle of the surgery, it might actually make the surgery work. Because, we've worked with a lot of doctors, and we've helped a lot of doctors do a better job. Really, we have. So, if you're doing this and you're also working with some doctors, you want to get them doing this because they'll be better at helping you. And they can, doctors help people. There's no question about it. I want to say that also when you take out the disease or any pathology, I want to say this again, you do have to remove it from all the bodies. You cannot stop in the middle of the bodies and call that a round. It isn't. Okay. And then, after you've done a couple of rounds of this, start the movie again. Okay? Now that might be tomorrow. This might be an overnighter. But start the movie again at that point. Because you're going to want to hear what I have to say. So you can take an overnight break, but then start the movie again. Do many rounds of this assignment throughout the evening and night, for this time. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, do a round. When you wake up first thing in the morning, do a round. Before you get out of bed. Seriously. Lie there, massage your eyes. Do the assignment over again in your mind, as much of it as you can remember. You don't have to leap up and consult your notes. You can be quiet in the morning and still do this. That's better, to stay quiet and do this. Get out of bed. feeling good. You want to get out of bed feeling good. You know? Start the day feeling good. So you're going to have to work at this, okay? So, okay, now it's time to do the assignment. We're really going to do this now, okay? Now it's time to do the assignment and then watch the rest of the movie no later than sometime tomorrow, okay? So pause the movie now. Well, you have now a lot of experience with curing things. You have cured a lot of things during this assignment. Even if you only took an hour for it, you cured like probably, well, you can actually test, you know, like you saw Sammy doing them if you want, if you're curious about it. You can do that. I mean, you can just test how many you cured. Because, you know, whatever the force will tell you, will give you an exact number if you want. Because you did that assignment. And you also have found a lot more things that you have to do. I mean, the vista of things that you have to do is expanded before you. Because, you know, some of those pathologies like trauma have extensive lessons in the web college about them. Maybe you even went to the lessons and realized, oh my God, there's... I mean, like, trauma is this page with this whole list of lessons in it, and each lesson is pages long, so it's always, you know, anyway... While you were doing the assignment, at any point did you ask a bunch of questions about your disease, like, had you completely cured it? Did you ever think to ask, have I totally eradicated, you know, cancer from my physical body or from me or whatever? Questions like that. You know, that's what I did when I started doing this at first. I kept asking if my disease was completely gone. And I kept getting yes. And then the disease would be back, and I realized that it was completely gone, and I was getting it back. You know, I never had a herpes outbreak after the very first day I took my herpes out. That was the last herpes outbreak I ever had in my life. So in your case, it would be like, you know, yesterday if you did it, you know, if you took overnight, you know, that could be the last herpes outbreak you're ever going to... I mean, you may still have it because you haven't learned how to shrink the pustules yet, but it's not really outbreaking anymore. It's possible that you really did erase it, you know. But every time I woke up, I found herpes in some of my bodies. For years, this went on. Boy, huh? It's Murphy's Law of curing things. And you know, another thing is some people get negative medical tests within weeks of starting to do this. You know, like the woman in Israel with the CMV. Like there was this woman, I have to tell you about this woman. Well, she just popped into my head. And you can hear this woman, if you go to the main Cure Show page, you know like the, let's see, there's a Cure Show link up there, and that takes you to the main Cure Show page. And I think she's on, her name is Elizabeth. I think she would be under cytomegalovirus on that page. Now, if you go and she left me a telephone message. Okay, this woman came in. That's what you're hearing in the Cure Show. This message, this recording that I actually turned it into part of. There's a series of recordings of her. One of them is her actually curing the things with us on the Cure Show, and she came in with 4 medically incurable diseases. She had Epstein-Barr, which is a herpes virus, by the way. She had herpes HSV type, herpes simplex type 1 and 2. She had both of those. And she had CMV. And 10 days later, or thereabouts, she got a negative medical test on all of them. So, you know, so that happens. You know, people get negative medical tests within, you know, a few weeks of their arrival. And after your negative medical test, keep looking for it. Keep testing for it. Test for the disease all day, or whenever you're going to start to feel the kind of sensational and feeling components of it that you weren't noticing before. Like herpes definitely has those, and I don't know about other diseases because all I cured was herpes. I never had any other disease other than herpes to cure. I never got the flu after I cured my herpes. I never have to have the flu again. And you can go months without finding it and then finding it. And remember, your doctor can't tell you that it's gone. He doesn't know whether it's gone. All his tests can tell you is that they're not finding it. So only you and only you can test in any kind of final way whether or not the thing is really gone. And by the way, herpes is a cofactor in cancer, so you really want to test that it's really gone. Is it obvious to you that what we're doing here now is using a higher intelligence, something that's beyond us? It's a higher power to cure these things. I want to play you a little clip here, okay? Just watch the sky. Hold up your hand, and hold up your hand and test. Have any of my answers come from God?
Have any of my answers come from God? For any of them come from God? Have any of my answers come from God? Yeah, I mean, I feel it big. There's the whole temperature in my hand, all my fingers changed.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
Well now, okay, since you have now cured some things, it's time to report your cures. Like you saw Sammy doing early in the movie, remember? And I'm going to show you again, that to refresh your memory in a minute. But first of all, why is it important for you to report your cures? Like, why would you want to report your cures? It's just another thing to do in a long day of things to do, right? Like schlepping yourself, dragging your sorry ass through life, Why would you ever want to report your cures, God, who cares, Well, okay, can you think of a yes-no question that you might test right now that would shed some light on this? Like, what pops into your mind when you think about reporting your cures? What kind of questions? What good might it do to report your cures? Test that. How about that for an idea? How about you testing things? Just, asking questions for yourself. One thing to test might be, is it a good thing to report my cures right now? Since you did the assignment and cured a bunch of things, you have cures to report. Would it be good for me to report my cures? You could just test that, it's a simple test, right? By the way, if you just simply cannot find anything, you're testing, all these things are coming, what might be good about it, and you get no on every one of them. You just get absolutely no, do not report your cures. That should be taken as an alarm bell. It means there's something really wrong going on here with you, okay? It means there's something really wrong with you. So you want to ask some more questions about what that might be. And I'll show you the little clip of her again so you see how it's done.
Because I was like, yes, like a prolonged yes.
Very good, very good. Test, have I cured anything?
Have I cured anything? Yes.
You got a yes, okay. Ask, have I cured more than one thing?
Have I cured more than one thing? Yes.
More than 10 things?
More than 10 things? No.
Okay, so now it's time to report your cures. You're going to get an exact number. I want you to get an exact number. And in case I didn't show you how Sammy got an exact number, but it's probably kind of obvious. What you would do is you just count down between whatever you can. Is it over 5? Yes, over 10? No. So you'd count 5, 6, 7, 8, and see which one you get a signal on. And the link to report your cures is there. By that other cobweb near the ceiling. I'm just kidding. Okay, you reported your cures. You're back. And so, do you realize that you have just showed up for cure on this earth by reporting your cures? You know, you struck a blow for every person on earth by saying you cured something. You have implied that they can. You know, you're one of thousands of people who contributed to this too now. So, welcome to the Cure Drive now, for real. You've joined the multitude of people who are altering the course of history. We are altering the course of human history by curing things. And we're a pretty small multitude at this point, I will also say, which is an honor. You know, it's a greater honor to be a member of a small group than a large group. The few and the proud. You see, no one has ever cured things in the course of human history the way you just did. As you've been curing things, no one has ever done this before in this intentional way. I mean, people have had spontaneous remissions forever, you know, but that's a little different than creating a non-spontaneous intentional remission. So, congratulations and welcome to the Cure Drive. Okay, now I'm going to give you another lesson. By that I mean we're going to watch another clip of it's actually another clip of Kate at another time. Now, I'm sure you've been noticing my t-shirt, you know, that says I cured cancer, and maybe sometimes people wonder about it. I have never been medically diagnosed with cancer. But I use the shirt as a conversation starter, of course. It made you ask questions, right? People ask me questions about it all the time. The cancer I cured was in somebody else. And, you know, I tell people about Charles Smith, for example. And there's been a lot of people, but, you know, he's the one I sometimes talk about. You know, I could show you his cancer cure, but it's on the Cure Show page, so you can go there. It was wrapped around his heart. The doctor gave him 3 months to live. He was an amazing story. Really, it's Keely's story also, because Keely is his friend, and she stuck with him. I think without Keely, he would be dead. But she just wouldn't let go of him. And he turned it around. He was doing this as the cancer was getting worse. He just wasn't curing it. No matter what he did, he wasn't curing it. And then I guess he just got serious about it. But actually, there's another story about me that I want to tell you now, about my cancer cure. Because there's a story of me curing cancer. First, I want to show you Kate's clip, okay? And you'll see what this actually looks like. So watch Kate. And so we'll start with multiple sclerosis and test if you have multiple sclerosis in any of your bodies.
My finger's twitching.
Okay, that means yes.
I don't know. I usually don't have my finger twitch like that.
Okay, well that means that your finger, you're starting to get the signal like everybody else, which is good too. So now I want you to say, I am now removing multiple sclerosis from all of my bodies, and get any kind of signal that you get on that. And you don't have to say that, I already said it, just tell me when you get the signal that you have removed it. When you get a signal, okay, so you got that signal, it means you removed it, okay. All right, very good. And, okay, so now let's test for tuberculosis.
No.
Okay, you get no, okay. Now let's test for cancer. Do I have cancer in any of my bodies?
No.
Okay. Do I have smallpox in any of my bodies?
Yes.
Okay, so now you say I am now removing the smallpox virus from all of my bodies.
I'm getting a no.
Okay, we'll keep going to yes. You want to get yes on this. So you just keep just saying I'm removing the smallpox virus, and when you get a signal, you've done it. Sometimes it can take a while.
Okay, I'm getting the signal now.
Okay, good. See, because it can take a minute. Now, why would we check for these diseases that you've never been exposed to, like smallpox?
I don't know.
Okay. Now for my story. In the fall of 1996, I went to the movies at Franklin Mills, which is north of Philadelphia, and around 11 o'clock after the movie, I was walking around the parking lot looking at the stars. And I thought to ask what at the time was a crazy question. A question that I had not thought in the 3 years that I had been doing this to ever ask about myself, since I had not been medically diagnosed with cancer, okay? And I asked if I had cancer in any of my bodies, and I got yes. You can imagine, right? Well, there wouldn't be any cure for your herpes, or your cancer, or whatever it is you're in here to cure. I could be in the ground right now. I'd been doing this for years. I had never thought to ask about cancer. And I'm not in the ground because I ask crazy questions. I'm 65 and I'm still here because I ask crazy questions and do my homework. And from this came what you just saw with Kate. You know, it came me showing you how to take this kind of proactive measure. By the way, you can read other people's bodies, their pre-physical bodies, as easily as you can read your own. So it means, yes, you can cure your kids. The problem with people who are, when people reach a certain age, they have to do this for themselves. And it's why, there's a lot of really good healers out there, really talented healers. And they don't, they don't cure people. The people pay thousands of dollars. There was a woman I talked to who paid Carolyn, you know who Carolyn Mace is? I think her name is Carolyn Mace. She wrote a lot of books, many of which I've read. I've read most of the stuff out there, like EFT and all this stuff. I know, a lot about it, have experienced it and know people who are masters of it and so on who are doing this. And everything comes in here. We know everything. Everything walks in here. And there's a lot of really good kinds of yoga and massage and stuff that we get into too. It's good stuff, But anyway, Carolyn Mace, she paid Carolyn Mace $25,000. Carolyn Mace is very talented with healing. She does not know what you know now. You can actually, it's interesting because you can actually say at this point, from doing that silly little assignment that I had you do overnight last night, that you're a better healer than Carolyn Mace is, actually, at this point. I'm talking about you, not me. You need to give yourself some credit and actually own up to the level of power that you have attained. This is a big challenge for everybody who I meet. Every last person I've ever known has been terrified of just owning up to their own level of power. They just won't do it. They still want to be weak little infants. Everybody's like that. It's a major aspect of the pathological matrix in which you are enmeshed and that you must extricate yourself from. I mean, you go to in any room full of people, you're going to be the biggest person in the room as of now. You're here. You know, you've done it. You know, it's too late to go back. You did the assignment. You know, you can't give it back. Now, the power that you have is yours. And you may choose to forget about it, but you've got it. The truth is, you always had it. And so do all the other people in that room. It's just that they've never probably consciously experienced it. Certainly not in the extensive way you did when you did the assignment. Gotcha. I tricked you into being you. You're you now. You've become you. It's funny, isn't it? Well, we're now coming to the end of the first part of this movie. The second part is the advisory area. You know, it's people telling you, you know, things you need to know. And me too, of course, you know. But I thought this was a good place to stop this movie and let you do this for a few days. And what you're going to be doing is basically continuing to repeat this assignment that I gave you over and over again. And you can also go on to other things in the web college if you wish. You know, that's fine. You know, to do more, go ahead. You can watch the second part of this movie. It's another separate, completely separate movie under this. It's underneath this one on the home page. Whenever you want, you know, but it should be within the next few days. You should watch that. You should watch it within the next few days and keep yourself moving forward. And plus, you're going to need the advice that these people give. There's a lot here. You will need the advice that they give you. So, now for the next few days, you should be wandering around doing this when you're not near the computer, doing what I've shown you how to do. Friends help. We're okay with you showing your friends anything you've printed or whatever you're working on. I know you're going to find more things in the web college to do, you know, and you're going to, you know, over the next few days before you get the advice. You know, if you're like me, you're going to go running around, you know, through the web college, you know, for here and there looking, you know, partially out of curiosity, presumably, you know. And, okay, now don't give your friends your password, okay? You're not supposed to be stealing from the church. You know, and you would, if you give passwords to people, you're actually telling them to steal from the church. This is a church, okay? So obviously stealing from a church is a symptom, yes? It means you're still sick. So if you feel the urge to steal from those who are curing you, which of course is everyone who has ever donated anything to this, which is thousands of people you would be robbing, it means that your disease is trying to take control of you. It's a symptom, you know, it's just something for you. It's an alarm bell, something for you to notice and ask questions, you know, test questions about. But it's fine to share. See, this is kind of a fine line because there's nothing wrong with you opening a web page in front of somebody, you know, at your house and saying, okay, we're going to work on this now and doing that with them. You know, you want their help and they need your help because everybody's got something to cure. You're both sick. Okay? And you can help each other. You can help them. You are able to help people right now. You are qualified. I hereby certify you, my child. You are now qualified to help people. And you can help anyone on earth right now. Even if you can't even get a signal, you can still help them because you can definitely show them what a signal is and they can get one. If you're interested in hearing more about this, there's a very fun cure show with a group. I think it's called Cure Group of the Midwest or something. It's right at the top of the Cure Show page. And this guy couldn't get a signal and invited, you know, like a dozen of his friends to meet in the church basement in whatever their church is. I don't know where, you know, it's some Christian church, I assume. you know, in somewhere in the, it's maybe in Iowa or somewhere, I don't know, but anyway, they all met there, and they were all getting signals immediately. None of them had ever done it before, and they were all getting signals, and then showed him how to get a signal. It was a very interesting little exercise in what can be when somebody can't get a signal, you know, how they can end up getting one. So you are now qualified to help anybody on earth this instant. You don't have to cure another thing, and they can cure things when you don't. You can be failing and they can succeed, and you can show them how to succeed when you're failing. It's possible to do that. You can help somebody and they can do better than you. Be open to other people doing better than you. Even if you're doing great, they can still do better than you. Think about that for a minute. And when you enjoy their success, it means you're getting well. You've cured something. You're healthy. You're functional. It's another signal. Enjoying the success of others is another signal that you're curing the disease. So, okay, end of the movie's coming up here. Why did I get so involved with this? What made me do that? Have you ever wondered about that? Probably not. But you may at some point, you know. And I'll tell you what it was. I crossed a line. You know? I crossed the line. And there was a line of demarcation. And in, you know, chronologically, it was 1993 through 96, actually. It was like a 3-year long line where before the line, before 1993, everybody died. You know, you got cancer when you were around me doing my courses, doing my trainings, and you came down with cancer and you died. That's what happened. You came down with HIV, you died. Well, you know, there weren't very good cocktails pre-1993. Jackie died. I talked to you about her way earlier in the movie. Maria, who was, she also died of cancer. Maria was a genius and one of my greatest supporters. And I talked to her a couple of days before she died. Bob Zemsky, I talked to him like about 3 or 4 days before he died. He left everything, all of his possessions, everything he owned went to AIDS research. And he gave a lot of it while he was still alive. You know, and he was still fighting, like a few days before his death, he was still fighting. Stephen Amaral, who was just becoming recognized as a designer, he was a brilliant designer. And then I crossed this line to where nobody died. Sally McCoy was one of the first ones. Greg went to San Francisco to pack our stuff up, and he stayed there for a few months at Sally's house. And Sally had had a liver transplant and was rejecting the new liver. They had scheduled her for another transplant, you know, another $750,000 operation. And she, you know, sat down with Greg and did 2 or 3 hours of this one evening, and she accepted the liver. They never did they canceled the transplant that they scheduled. Somebody else who needed it got the, you know, the other liver. You know, she got out of somebody's way. It's an amazing story. And I don't think she ever gave Greg any credit for it either. Funny, huh? I don't think Greg wanted any credit, to tell you. You know, I think we were all a little sheepish back then. But Edith Huber, another one, also 1993, fall, I guess it was. This was her second cancer. The doctor gave her a 40% chance. She lived. She not only lived, she recovered. He said that she recovered faster than anybody he'd ever seen. And of course, what did we know? You know, she was doing medication for it, you know. We didn't know you could cure it without medication. I knew nothing about it. Nothing. you know, she was seeing me because she wanted to resolve some issues about her love life. She wanted to decide which of her 3 boyfriends she should marry. She was a Texas girl. Edith was a pistol. You know, she was the director of tourism for Galveston. And she was 67. And she walked out of that hell and married this one of the guys. She picked one, you know. Funny person. You know, Bill Pelly with hepatitis B. This was 96. Turned it around and got a negative medical test. I guess it was within about 2 weeks. God, I was so relieved that time. See, because all the guys with AIDS died, and then here was this other gay person coming to me, you know, with another lethal disease, you know. And man, I was a hooked fish at that point. So that was the line, you know, that I crossed, that got me so involved with this, and to this day, here I am, you know, talking to you, and it was the people who got sick and didn't die. They all lived. Everybody survived. You know, and then nobody got sick anymore. It sounds like I'm saying this is 100% effective, doesn't it? Not really, no. What I'm saying is that the people are 100% effective who apply this when they apply it like these guys did. And these guys applied it, you know, let's give them some credit here. You know, they did it, they cured it. You know, you got to, it's the person who does it. There is no modality. I mean, it's you got to be there, baby. You got to be present at your own, you know, survival. And that's what I always wanted to do for people, is give them something that would be, see, the courses that I gave, which I made millions giving these courses over many years, you know, I gave them starting in the 70s, and but my courses were inadequate. And then this came along, and I realized I could give somebody something that actually was adequate, and that's what I'm doing here, talking to you. It's something, huh? I mean, I did something with my life. That's how I looked at it. You know, that's how I've always looked at it that way. I actually managed to do something with my life. So, okay, this is really it coming up. You're going to go forth and conquer the disease. Let me be very specific, okay? What you're supposed to be doing tomorrow morning while you're driving in your car or while you're jogging, your morning exercise routine, whatever it is, you're supposed to have remembered at least the names of a few of the pathologies, and you're supposed to have remembered or have the list of bodies with you, and, you know, and you're supposed to test. Do I have any parasites, or do I have any trauma? And when you get a yes on something, you're supposed, or you have a bad feeling. Is it such and such? Is it, you know, you're supposed to, things are supposed to pop into your head. Is, do I have that? Do I have that? And you don't have to be too rigid about it. You know, it doesn't have to be an official, pathology. Later, you'll find that the thing you tested for was actually an immune dysfunction or whatever. But, you know, whatever. And then okay, is it in this body, this body, this body? And you test all your bodies and you don't get anything. Well, do I still have it? And you test, yes, I still have it. Well, is it just something that's not in one of the bodies, but I've got it, you know, and you test yes. And then you say, okay, I'm now removing such and such, you know. You don't have, you know, it is not necessary to get confused. Confusion is something you do to yourself, okay? It is not, you just, you know, what you're supposed to do is just plow through. And then after you get a yes on that, you're supposed to be quiet for a minute, you know? Like, just give yourself a little, you know, New York minute, you know, to look for the feeling to change, or the way you feel to change. That's another signal that you're supposed to be looking for, a change in the way you feel. So you just take a second and look before you go on to test for more things to remove. And then, when you either get the feeling change or you don't, because, you know, maybe you wait for it, you don't get, a lot of times you don't get a feeling change. So you don't have to wait that long. Then you just take that same thing that you just removed, go through your bodies one by one, you know. That's what you're supposed to be doing in your car tomorrow, on your lunch break, all day, all day. And not just, you want to feel calm. So if you feel not calm, not good, you're feeling like emotionally unstable or upset or speeded up or slowed down or angry or resentful or annoyed, or if you find yourself talking too fast, like maybe I just was a minute ago, do I have anything that I need to remove or install? Just install a little bit of yes. Anytime it looks like there's something out with you, you got to check right then and there. That's what it is to cure stuff. So if you're negotiating the biggest business deal of your life and you feel something is out and you feel like you can't check, just wouldn't be appropriate right now in the middle of this intense conversation with this person, that's a symptom. All these things I'm talking about, the talking too fast or, resentment or whatever, it's a symptom. If you think you're supposed to stay sick for any reason, that's a symptom. And that means you got to check right then and there. Because otherwise, you're going to make the worst business deal. You will make an awful business deal. And if you do check, and in the middle of that, the other person says, well, forget it or something, you may have just saved yourself from 15 years of the most awful business deal. The other party just walks out and saves you the trouble, of cutting it off. Sometimes it's best to pass on things. So check while you're negotiating, and you take out what's wrong with you. It's like and after you've taken everything out, then it's a good thing to ask, am I happy? And see if you get a signal. Am I making the right choices? See if you get a signal on that. Did you just test those two things I just said? Let me show you. It's like this, okay? Am I happy? See, I got a signal right in the middle of it. I got a signal, but I couldn't even get, am I making the right choices out, and I got a signal. That's how fast it is. You can be finished testing in the middle of what I'm saying. See, this is not supposed to slow you down. It's supposed to speed you up. I've been going on and on about how you have to, this is going to take time. This is going to take time. That's what you need to know right now, because that's what it is for you. This is going to take a lot of your time. Okay? You're going to have to sit here and study and go through the web college and find the things. You will find them too. There's other lessons about how to find them. How do I find what I need? Don't worry. Don't worry, it's coming. We got everything for you, not a problem, But see, this is supposed to speed you up. It's supposed to help you get what you want. Attract the things to you that are the miracles and the things that you've dreamed of. This is not supposed to take all your time. It's supposed to give you more time. This is fast. It's fun. It's simple. It feels good. It cures what ails you. It tells you what you need to know. It stops you from doing what you don't need to do. It feels good. It cures you, and you still don't want to do it, right? Okay. But you're catching on. Okay? So this is what you're supposed to be doing for the next couple of days before you watch the next part of your Blueprint for Cure Part 2, okay? You off to a flying start? Yeah? Good. Try to stay that way.